Do you love novels, but don't have time to read thousands of chapters? Imagine listening to your favorite stories anytime, anywhere, while driving, working, or relaxing. Here, you'll find premium audiobooks from Pocket FM, Audible, Webnovel, Wuxia, and more, all in one place. Every novel is a one-time payment, no subscriptions, no monthly fees, lifetime access. The full novel list and prices are in the description below. Once you choose a novel, just DM me on Telegram, WhatsApp, or Discord. After payment via PayPal, Ko-fi, or Patreon, you get permanent access to the audiobook on Telegram. And if the novel is ongoing, all future updates are included. Check the description, pick your story, and start listening today. Before we start the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Enjoy, and let's go.
21. Chapter 21, Complete Heir of the Vermilion Bird. 100 Power Stones Bonus Chapter. The words of the Golden Crow immediately rekindled the hopes of the little demon empress. She quickly asked, hurriedly, "What do you mean by that, divine god Golden Crow?" The soul of the Golden Crow began to explain. The greatest secret of your demon emperor clan can indeed allow a direct descendant of the demon emperor's lineage to take half a step into the divine profound realm in a short period of time. But once you achieve that half step into the divine profound, you will surely die 3 years later. At that time, even if the ancient emperor of the gods were alive, he would still be unable to save you. Every word spoken by the soul of the Golden Crow shook her soul. The little demon empress slightly raised her head, her pale face showing no sign of surprise but instead calm as the gravity of death. I know. To take half a step into the divine profound as a monarch is almost an act that defies the heavens. If it can truly be achieved, there must be an extremely tragic punishment and consequence. Otherwise, my demon emperor clan would not have kept this secret from its direct descendants so strictly until their deaths. But now, my entire immediate family is gone, and I am the only one left of the demon emperor clan who can inherit 10,000 years. Even the honor of our clan being emperor for the past 10,000 years is on the verge of being stolen by traitors. I am alone in this world, and there is no turning back. All that remains in my life is an irreconcilable, absolute blood vengeance as deep as an ocean. For revenge, I would do anything and pay any price. If I can gain the power of half a step into the divine profound, let alone 3 years, even if my life perishes and my soul dissipates 10 days later, I would do it without regret and absolutely without hesitation. Although you are a woman, your resolve is worthy of praise, and you are truly worthy of being a descendant of the Golden Crow. The hidden secret of your demon emperor clan is, in fact, a promise I made to your ancestors back then. At that time, this noble one told them, if your clan were on the brink of despair and sought the power for a turnaround, then I would grant one request and bestow 9 drops of the Golden Crow's blood. At the same time, by channeling the vitality of the person's life, it would burn all the power of their Golden Crow lineage and allow them to gain strength equivalent to half a step into the divine profound. But 3 years later, the power of the lineage and the vitality of life would burn out simultaneously. At that time, there would only be death, and there would be no remedy for it in this world. Unfortunately, your clan is still too far behind after all. You are the only one left of the Demon Emperor clan's lineage even if you gain this power, though it will eventually help you achieve your revenge. It will extinguish your clan even faster. The little Demon Empress deeply bowed, her pale face showing only determination and desire, with no trace of hesitation or fear. May the divine god Golden Crow please fulfill my wish? Because you are a woman, I refuse to awaken your lineage before, as this method can only be used on men, and using it on a woman would cause her to perish instantly. But perhaps the heavens took pity on your Demon Emperor clan and left a twist of fate for this event and your life for the next 3 years. A twist of fate? The little Demon Empress was confused. As I said, you are very fortunate. The scarlet golden eyes hovering in the void slowly turned, like 2 divine torches, toward the figure collapsed on the golden ground. The unconscious young man, still pale, was now the center of all attention for that divine existence. The little Demon Empress followed the gaze of the divinity, and her breath faltered the moment she realized where those incandescent eyes were directed. Her body trembled, and a wave of disbelief and fear washed over her. This boy! The entity's voice grew heavier, laced with disdain. His lineage cannot be hidden from this noble one. He carries the blood of the vermilion bird. The little Demon Empress's heart nearly stopped. The words echoed like thunder in her mind. You are saying that Renzu possesses the lineage of the vermilion bird? Her voice wavered, her wide eyes fixed on the flaming silhouette that filled the entire golden horizon. Humph! You think your mortal eyes could discern such a thing? The mocking voice of the golden crow reverberated like a flame lashing the wind. He not only possesses the lineage of that red chicken, he is the complete heir. Even this noble one was surprised by the purity of his lineage. Therefore, there is only one path. Receive the vital yang of this boy. Only the flame of the vermilion bird can neutralize the yin in your body and allow my fire to be accepted without destroying you. If you wish to achieve the power needed for your revenge, this is also the only way. The golden world seemed to shudder with the declaration. For a moment, the little demon empress was speechless. Her face flushed, her mind in shock, the words burning in her throat, unable to be articulated. Receive his vital yang. She repeated in an almost inaudible whisper, as if still trying to grasp the scope of the statement. Correct. The golden crow's voice was merciless, indifferent to the turmoil in the young woman's heart. Little demon empress. She remained kneeling, her body rigid, her eyes fixed on the unconscious figure of Renzu. She couldn't quite explain her feelings at the moment, nor could she bring herself to say no to the golden crow's suggestion. The hatred she harbored for Duke Ming was as vast as the night sky, as deep as the ocean. If she could achieve this revenge by lying with Renzu, so be it. She would compensate him somehow afterward. For now, wait for this boy to wake up. He should awaken soon, and then this noble one will assist with the process. Ha 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 ha. The voice of the golden crow's soul echoed through the golden space one last time as it let out an amused laugh before the scarlet golden eyes vanished completely. Little demon empress. After the scarlet golden eyes disappeared, the silence of the golden world lingered. The little demon empress's gaze remained fixed on the fallen young man, her body motionless, but her heart a chaos of emotions that the heavens could never comprehend. She didn't know how much time had passed. Minutes? Hours? The eternal void of the place made time lose all meaning. The only certainty was the anticipated consequences weighing on her shoulders. Her fingers trembled subtly, clutching the hem of her dress as she silently approached and sat beside Renzu. Compared to before, his face now had a healthy rosy tone, and his profound energy was almost fully restored. Her face, still flushed against her will, had returned to its usual cold and impassive demeanor. Her heart, however, pounded as if trying to break through its own icy barrier. It was in this silence that Renzu's body finally stirred. A faint sigh escaped his lips, followed by a groan of pain. His eyes trembled, slowly opening. Ugh! His voice was hoarse. Where am I? It was then that he noticed the figure kneeling beside him. The little demon empress. Her eyes, deep as pools of ice, stared at him without emotion. There was no tenderness, no hostility, only an indecipherable turmoil hiding the storm within her soul. She responded, her voice low and firm, cutting through the silence like a blade. You are in the ancestral land of the golden crow. Hearing her words, Renzu blinked in surprise, and a sigh of relief escaped his lips. Thank the heavens! He murmured, a faint smile appearing on his lips. His voice was still hoarse but carried genuine urgency as he raised it to her. Are you okay? The little demon empress froze. For a moment her heart stopped. The first thing he asked, upon waking in a weakened state, wasn't anything else someone in his situation might deem more important. He simply asked about her. A warm, indescribable wave ran down her spine, crushing for a second the icy barriers she had always kept up. Her eyes trembled, but they quickly returned to their emotionless gaze, hiding any sign of weakness. I'm fine, she said, with no emotion showing on her face. Good. Renzu let out a faint smile of relief, closing his eyes for a moment, as if the simple confirmation of her well-being was enough to soothe his heart. He retrieved a pill from his spatial ring and quickly swallowed it before the little demon empress's eyes, immediately entering meditation to refine the pill as he sat cross-legged. It seemed everything had worked out. Everything was going according to his plans. He just needed to keep following his strategy and acting for everything to succeed. His acting skills were truly terrifying. As he refined the pill and his body showed signs of full recovery in mere moments, the little demon empress watched him in silence. After a week by his side, she was already certain he was an exceptionally skilled physician, capable of producing pills of extraordinary quality. So, her heart felt relieved. After absorbing the pill and returning to his peak, Renzu let out a sigh and said, That was a close one. A 10th level sovereign profound realm enemy is no joke to face. The little demon empress averted her eyes, her lips pressed as if she disapproved of his words. Humph. And you still dare to smile after nearly dying? Your recklessness knows no bounds. Renzu gave a half-smile, tilting his head slightly. Recklessness? Maybe. But it was worth it. Her eyes narrowed, piercing him with a sharp gaze. Worth it? To risk your own life? If it was to protect you, yes. Renzu replied without hesitation, the calm in his voice contrasting with the weight of those words. The little demon empress's heart faltered for a moment. She huffed and said, "Ridiculous. I didn't ask you to throw yourself into the jaws of death for me. I don't need your protection." Renzu chuckled softly, as if he had expected that reaction. "Maybe you don't need it, but I wanted to. That's different." Little demon empress. A certain silence enveloped the two. But the brief silence was interrupted by a sudden tremor that reverberated through the entire space. A muffled roar of burning flames echoed on the fiery horizon, followed by the reappearance of the scarlet golden eyes hovering over them with the same blazing arrogance as before. "Humph! Even in this miserable state, this boy still dares to worry about you first? Ridiculous. Ridiculous, but interesting." The golden crow's voice shook the space like an ancestral flame, laced with disdain but also a faint note of sarcasm. The little demon empress's eyes rose slowly, impassive on the surface, but her heart raced with the brutal reminder of the condition imposed upon her. "Divine God Golden Crow, why have you returned now? Ha 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 ha." The divinity's fiery laugh sounded like blazing thunder. "You already know the reason. He has awakened. The heir of the vermilion bird has opened his eyes, and that means there's no more time to waste." "Renzu!" The voice of the golden crow's spirit roared like a fierce fireball, piercing Renzu's ears and striking his heart and soul directly, though his expression remained indifferent. He only showed a slight hesitation, unsurprised that the golden crow's soul knew his name, as Tsai had mentioned it earlier. The scarlet golden eyes narrowed, burning with a flame that seemed to pierce through flesh and bone to the soul. The pressure of the entire space turned against Renzu, as if a sea of divine flames sought to tear him apart just to extract the truth. "Boy, tell me, where did you obtain the vermilion bird's legacy?" This noble one vaguely senses a faint trace of that filthy phoenix's scent, coming from the north. "But I sensed nothing of that red chicken. Explain yourself." Renzu raised his eyes slowly, showing no panic, remaining indifferent. He quickly gave the excuse he had prepared over the past months for this moment. "That was just luck. A few months ago, while exploring a remote region, I found a strange cave. Inside it, an ancient profound teleportation formation was accidentally activated and pulled me to an unknown place. There, I met the vermilion bird, and in that encounter, I became its complete heir." Silence. The little demon empress cast him a discreet sidelong glance. "Humph!" The entity's muffled laugh reverberated. "Your luck is truly extraordinary. But," the flame in the divine eyes intensified, incinerating the void, "your physique is even more extraordinary than your lineage. It crossed mortal limits long ago and entered the divine profound realm. This noble one has never encountered anyone born with such a body. Your profound veins are also strange, reminiscent of the heretic gods. It's as if you have something akin to the evil fire spirit body granted by his legacy. You can control primordial flames and fear none of the myriad flames in the world. That is the most fascinating thing to this noble one. That shouldn't be possible without the legacy of a true god. But aside from that red chicken, I sense no other legacy in you. Even though your cultivation in the profound path is pathetic and laughable in my eyes. This physique and these profound veins alone make you a living miracle." The little demon empress's heart trembled at the golden crow's words, but she kept her face impassive. She chose not to speak, still digesting what the golden crow had said. Renzu, however, merely raised an eyebrow slightly, as if it were only natural. "It's not that impressive." "Ridiculous!" The golden crow roared with scorn. "A physique that should carry supreme flames, wasted on the inferior fire of that red chicken. Yes, divine fire, but still inferior to my flames. This is simply an unacceptable waste." He already knew the golden crow was arrogant and looked down on the other two fire attribute divine beasts, but he never imagined it would be to such an extent. After all, this was merely a fragment of its soul. Yet its attitude in belittling the vermilion bird's flames surpassed all expectations. This wasn't mere discrimination. It was pure, absolute disdain. "But your vermilion bird lineage is useful to me now." The scarlet golden eyes glimmered at that moment. "Sis." Renzu's white clothes and the little demon empress's gray garments instantly turned into small scraps with a soft tearing sound, leaving their bodies and being swept away by a blazing storm. "What are you doing?" Renzu feigned surprise as he stood. The soft, delicate body of the little demon empress, even more refined than white snow and smoother than porcelain, appeared before his eyes, their reflection in his black pupils an image that would enchant anyone's heart. The little demon empress covered her chest with her arms, panic flashing across her face. "What is this? You have such a strong will for revenge and the resolve to give your all, yet you lack the courage to face this man's beautiful body. Only by taking his vermilion bird's vital yang can you gain the power of half a step into the divine profound for 3 years. Otherwise, you would perish instantly. And not only does he possess the vermilion bird's lineage, but he also has an unparalleled physique. His vital yang is so strong that even this noble one envies you. What reason do you have to fear? Renzu was surprised by the Golden Crow's words. She thought he was beautiful? Truly, the aura of the banished immortal was terrifying. He snapped out of his thoughts when a snowy white figure suddenly swayed before his eyes, and before he could even react, he was firmly pressed down beneath a small, young, and naked girl, who tightly gripped both his hands against his chest. "Sai," Renzu murmured. The young girl's soft body in his vision was white as snow. Her body was delicate, frail, and ignited a fire in one's heart. Her snowy shoulders were narrow, her slender waist flexible, and her 2 snowy breasts with delicate red jade pearls were right before his eyes. Even his nose could sense a scent that could intoxicate his heart and make him lose his soul. Yet, the young girl's face was astonishingly indifferent. There was no sadness, no tears, no joy, no shame, no panic, or any trace of emotion. The only emotion was a dark desire for power and the thirst for revenge. It was as if, in that moment, she had sealed all her emotions with ice, becoming a soulless doll. Clang! A ball of scarlet golden flames fell from the sky, forming a massive flame barrier that enveloped the place where Renzu and the little demon empress stood. Ha 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 ha! The Golden Crow's soul laughed loudly. If you want to restore your lifespan and make your body strong enough to receive my power, you must take his vital yang at least 500 times. Since this noble one has decided to help you, I will help you to the end. I will give you 2 months, and when you complete this in 2 months, this barrier will naturally disappear. If you cannot complete it, this barrier will exist forever, and neither of you should even think about leaving. Ha 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 ha. /N. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 22. Chapter 22, 500 times. 18 plus. Although she had heard the words of the Golden Crow's soul, the little demon empress paid them no heed. Her gaze was fixed on that beautiful immortal face, on that perfect body pressed beneath hers, displaying an emotionless expression. Yet, in her heart, a whirlwind of unnamed feelings stirred, feelings she refused to acknowledge. In the end, none of it mattered. All that truly mattered was that she could achieve her vengeance if she pressed forward. Besides, Renzu offered no resistance. If he truly despised this idea so much, he could have easily freed himself, considering the level of power he possessed. Sai? Renzu called her name softly and explained, "You don't have to do this. Don't force yourself. Ignore the Golden Crow's words. I have a way to get us out of here." The little demon empress narrowed her eyes, and for a brief moment, a spark of emotion flashed across her dark eyes. "Don't tell me what I should or shouldn't do. You don't understand. You can't understand. My life, everything has been reduced to ashes. This is the only way. The only chance to avenge my family, to restore my family's honor. I'm sorry for this, but this empress will have to take your vital yang for the sake of my vengeance, and I know it's not such an undesirable situation. Even though your eyes show no feeling or emotion, I can feel your desire for me." Renzu opened his mouth to respond, but the words died in his throat. He let out a sigh and, tired of pretending, decided to move forward and reap the fruits of his plans. All his planning had led him to this moment, the instant when he could finally be with the woman he had fallen in love with. In that sense, he felt happy. At the same time, however, a tinge of sadness gnawed at him, for this seemed to be the only path he had found to make her stay by his side. His beautiful appearance had only gotten him so far. Without it, he might never have managed to get close to her or even survive. But in the end, that was all it was. What truly sustained his actions was sincerity. He had treated her well, cared for her, not because he merely desired her body or anything superficial, but because, in truth, his feelings were real. And it was precisely those feelings that brought that pang of sadness. Seeing her now, reduced to someone resembling a lifeless doll, driven only by the desire for vengeance, without even caring about lying with him to achieve that end, stirred in him a bitter mix of emotions that were hard to name. Following the path of a villain was never easy, especially for someone who had once been just an ordinary human, not one of those psychopaths who, upon being reborn, already carried the coldness needed to kill without hesitation. The mere fact that he felt bad for manipulating someone who loved him to stay by his side showed that, deep down, his essence had not yet fully changed. After all, murder could become a habit, according to one of the phrases left to the world by the famous detective Hercule Poirot. The meaning of that phrase did not refer to someone who killed a human and suddenly woke up with a preference for murdering people, then continued repeating the crime to satisfy their desires. It referred to someone who once solved their problems through murder and, for that person, whenever another problem arose, they thought of solving it through murder again. But if killing were truly tied to solving the problem, could it be said that this was the result of murder becoming a habit? Could it not be said that murder didn't become a habit, but rather that unavoidable circumstances arose? The situation wasn't about adding murder as an option because it had become a habit, but rather that there was no other option but to kill. Perhaps saying things like murder had become a habit was no longer possible. To his eyes, that phrase summed up his current mindset well. It was true that he could now kill without blinking man, woman, or child, it mattered little. His cruelty on the battlefield knew no bounds. However, it seemed that this ruthless side existed only against enemies. To become a true villain, worthy of the title he had chosen for himself, he would need to learn to harden himself in other areas as well, even in love. But that was a thought for later. Despite all this reflection, his train of thought lasted no longer than an instant. In the moment he decided to act, the little demon empress moved as if she were a porcelain machine. The snowy, delicate figure swayed before him. Without hesitation, she rose slightly over his body, pressing her hands firmly against his chest. Her gaze, previously cold and impassive, hit a storm of emotions. Her movements were hesitant but determined as she grasped his cock, reaching her hand back. His cock was already half-hard from before, provoked by her body pressing down on him in that makeshift cowgirl position. Her soft, white ass lightly brushed against him, each touch sending shivers down his spine and making his arousal grow uncontrollably. That was why she said she could feel his desire for her tsai must have felt the growing rigidity of his penis. In this life, he had been blessed in that area. In contrast to his original fate of being just an ordinary man, he had never actually measured it. But he knew his cock was over 10 inches long and nearly 3 inches wide, as thick as her delicate forearm. As soon as the little demon empress grabbed his penis, she felt the hot thickness pulsing in her hand, hardening quickly with each stroke. A knot tightened in her stomach, and for a moment, a pang of nervousness shot through her. Would it even be possible for that to fit inside her? Her eyes widened, but only for a moment. The hatred burning in her chest, vaster than the heavens and deeper than the oceans, swallowed any insecurity. Vengeance was all that mattered. With a trembling sigh, she moved and positioned herself over him, spreading her legs in an indecent Her delicate, naked body was fully exposed under the golden light flooding the surroundings. She gently held his penis with her small hand, which couldn't fully encircle his member, and guided it to her entrance. No words passed between them. Renzu couldn't take his eyes off the little demon empress. Her delicate beauty seemed designed to torment him with desire. Her long black hair, as dark as a moonless night, cascaded down to her hips, sliding like silk and caressing his skin as it moved. A sweet jasmine scent permeated the air, intoxicating his senses and igniting his body in anticipation. Her skin, white as snow, gleamed under the golden light, smooth and soft as white jade. Every curve seemed to beg to be touched. Her fragile shoulders and slender waist, so delicate he could dominate her with one hand, accentuated the femininity of her form. It was a body made to be possessed, small, slender, but irresistibly tempting. Her discreet, firm, and well-shaped breasts rose gently, crowned with pink nipples that resembled red pearls. The contrast between her pale skin and those rosy tips made him want to taste them, to feel their flavor, to hear the sounds she would try to suppress when touched there. He lowered his gaze and saw what awaited him. Her small, pink, delicate opening rubbed against his now fully rigid and pulsing member. With her hand, she held his cock and massaged her juicy lower lips, sending a shiver that rose to his chest. His heart raced, and he restrained himself, holding back from taking the initiative. He knew that, being her first time and having mustered the courage to act, any hasty move could have the opposite effect and scare her, breaking the delicate situation. So he let her do what she wanted for now. After all, he would still have 499 more chances to fuck her the way he wanted. Noticing the slightly aroused expression in his dark eyes, a strange warmth bubbled in the little demon empress's stomach. She had been watching him for some time too, and part of the reason she didn't mind lying with him, beyond the desire for vengeance, was the deep feelings she harbored for him. There was a hidden, suppressed but persistent desire that surfaced whenever she saw him shirtless during training, or when she recalled their first meeting. When both were naked, she doubted anyone wouldn't feel that way upon seeing him. The man before her wasn't just handsome, no adjective could do justice to the almost supernatural perfection of his form. His skin emitted a subtle glow, as if every cell were infused with serene light. His muscles were sculpted to perfection. Broad shoulders, a firm chest, and an abdomen marked with lines that seemed hand-carved by gods. His long, black hair flowed like waves across the floor, creating a poetic contrast against the paleness of his skin. And those eyes, deep, abyssal, reflected her nakedness with a cold, almost inhuman calm, though there was a desire to possess her within those eyes. For Renzu, the sight of her delicate body pressing against him was like fire poured into his veins. The little demon empress's small, fragile hips descended slowly, and he could feel the heat of her pussy vibrating, trembling as if begging for his cock. The wetness flowed excessively, forming glistening threads that dripped onto his skin, betraying how much her body wanted him, even without any emotion on her face. The thick, purple glands pressed against her wet opening, rubbing back and forth. Each stroke spread the flowing honey, soaking his cock down to the base. The contrast was absurd. The hard, pulsing member seemed too brutal to fit there, but her pussy's flesh contracted in spasms, trembling, as if calling for something it shouldn't be able to handle. Then, finally, she gave in. With a slow, inexorable movement, her insides opened. H. A muffled sound escaped as the tight flesh was stretched, centimeter by centimeter. In a wet snap, the massive cock sank slowly, pushing the inner walls that stretched to their limit, sucking him in with convulsive waves. With each advance, her little pussy swallowed deeper, sucking and engulfing that monster as if it wanted to trap it forever. Renzu lost his breath in that instant. The glands met resistance, and as it forced its way through, a violent shiver ran down his spine. The virgin flesh was suffocating. Too tight, too soft, too hot. Her insides enveloped him like a living prison, squeezing from all sides, pulsing and trembling in uncontrollable contractions that seemed to sap every ounce of his strength. Nhhhhh. A guttural sound escaped his throat as he threw his head back, teeth clenched. The pleasure was so brutal it hurt. Each time he sank deeper, his cock felt on the verge of exploding, crushed by the suffocating grip that left no space. It was the first time for both of them, and so every sensation came raw, violent, like waves crashing against rocks. The friction of her virgin, wet, and sticky flesh made his entire body shudder. He felt every nerve of hers trying to mold around his thickness, squeezing, contracting, and sucking relentlessly. The sounds filled the ancestral land of the golden crow. Schlick, squelch, plop, the noise of the lubrication dripping and the walls being stretched beyond their limit. Pain burned in her delicate body, but it was already mixed with a perverse pleasure that made her pussy tremble endlessly, throbbing around his cock as if it would suck everything inside. Her eyes half closed, without shine, without emotion, but a certain turmoil could be seen in her dark pupils. When, finally, his member reached the bottom, the impact resonated like muffled thunder within her. His cock hit her cervix, crushing every nerve in its path, and a stifled scream echoed from her lips. Aha! The shock coursed through both of them. She descended all the way, burying him entirely inside her in one final thrust. Renzu let out a guttural moan, his body arching in brutal ecstasy. The glands pressed against her depths, mercilessly crushing her uterus, and the pleasure surged through his nerves like electricity. His cock throbbed like a heart, rigid to the extreme, each vein pulsing against that insatiable pussy that engulfed him relentlessly. He gasped deeply, his eyes half closed in ecstasy, but suddenly noticed a scarlet thread sliding down the junction of their bodies. The blood tinged the transparent honey dripping from her tight pussy, trailing down to his own hips in a hot, viscous stream. His heart tightened. Sai, are you okay? His voice came out low, tense, broken by the pleasure threatening to overwhelm him. Her eyes moved slowly, staring down at him, black as abysses. No response. No words. Just silence. Then, as if she hadn't heard, she moved her hips upward. Nhhn. Renzu moaned loudly as the hot, tight flesh slid up his cock, letting it slip halfway. The pressure eased for just a moment, only for her to descend again, slowly, crushing him to the bottom. The wet sound exploded between them like a clap. Pa! Her little pussy squeezed and sucked every centimeter as if incapable of letting him escape. The blood mixed with the abundant lubrication, turning each movement into a perversely hot, slippery, addictive friction. Renzu held his breath. His body wanted to grab that waist and take control, but he hesitated. He was seeing her empty face, so cold, so distant, and yet her hips moved in a mechanical rhythm, rising and falling, riding as if it were just a task to complete. But as the minutes dragged on, the obscene sound echoed louder, The stifled moans escaped her pale lips, and each descent seemed heavier, hungrier. The little demon empress's breathing became irregular. Her shoulders trembled faintly, her fragile body beginning to react against her will. The grip of her pussy grew even tighter, contracting in involuntary spasms every time his massive cock sank to her uterus. "Anne!" A soft, muffled sound escaped her, unable to be contained. Renzu's eyes widened, his heart racing. He couldn't take it anymore. He brought his hands to her delicate waist and held her firmly. The little demon empress's eyes narrowed immediately, cold as a sword's blade. Her gaze fell on him like that of a death god, a silent promise of punishment. But she didn't stop. Even staring at him that way, her hips kept moving, riding slowly, in an increasingly wet, increasingly indecent back and forth. Renzu moaned, gripping her waist tighter, guiding her movements even against that murderous look. The pleasure was unbearable. Her flesh seemed to suck his soul, contracting with every deep thrust, squeezing his cock to the root. She clenched her teeth, trying to remain impassive, but her rhythm began to falter. Her hips sped up slightly, then slowed, as if she were getting lost in the sensation. Each faster descent caused a wet slap, and each rise left a thick thread of fluid connecting her pussy to his throbbing cock. Renzu couldn't pretend anymore. Her body was giving in. The heat, the grip, the stifled moans, everything screamed that this vengeance was turning into something addictive. And so was he. With every movement, every contraction, he felt the addiction growing within him, as if he needed her more than he needed to breathe. "Sai!" His voice came out hoarse, almost pleading, as he guided her into a deeper movement. She merely closed her eyes for a moment, as if unwilling to face reality, and continued riding him. Time seemed to drag in the slow rhythm of her hips. Renzu, lying down, observed every detail as if trapped in a spell. The little demon empress's small, delicate body moved over him with an indecency that would shock any inhabitant of the illusory demon realm, irresistibly erotic. Her firm breasts rose and fell gently with each thrust, swaying in a hypnotic rhythm. They weren't large, but their perfect shape, her pale skin gleaming under the faint light's reflection. Her pink nipples were hard, erect. Her silky, long, black hair was completely spread across her back, with some strands cascading over her shoulders, clinging to her skin due to sweat. Wet strands stuck to her chest, dripping droplets that slid down the valley between her breasts, mingling with the glistening wetness between her legs. Renzu panted heavily, feeling himself being sucked with every descent. The intoxicating scent of sweat and sex filled the air, making everything even more heady. His body trembled, trying to hold back, but the absurd pressure of that pussy made him waver. On the other hand, she showed nothing. Her empty, fixed gaze stared at him like a soulless doll, but her body reacted in silence. The involuntary spasms, the uncontrollable grip, the stifled moans that escaped when she thought she wasn't letting anything show. 10 minutes passed like this, in a slow torture, until Renzu finally succumbed. His entire body arched, muscles contracting, and he exploded inside her. The hot semen flooded the little demon empress's insides. Her eyes widened for a moment, her breathing faltered, and a crystalline moan escaped her lips. Pure, sweet, unexpected sound. But she quickly suppressed it, clamping her mouth shut, as if denying that pleasure were possible. And, to Renzu's surprise, she didn't stop. Even with her womb being filled, she kept riding, as if it weren't enough, as if she needed to squeeze every drop from him. That ignited something in him. Renzu bit his lips, his eyes gleaming with boldness. Without warning, he sat up, wrapping his arms around her and pulling her against his chest. Now seated, he began thrusting upward, completely ignoring the cold look she cast over him. Each thrust made her body jolt, her breasts bounce, and the wet sounds echo even louder in the room. She tried to maintain her rigidity, but her legs betrayed her. Instinctively, she wrapped them around his waist, pulling him closer, holding him tighter. It was an unconscious trap, as if her own body were begging for more. Renzu took advantage. With a sudden thrust, he flipped her over, placing her back against the ground. He gripped her hips firmly and began fucking her mercilessly, each deep thrust eliciting an obscene slap, each impact making her breasts bounce sideways. The little demon empress's gaze grew even colder, almost murderous. But that didn't stop him. On the contrary, it inflamed him. Renzu leaned over her, capturing her lips in a fiery kiss. Her eyes widened in shock. Her world stopped for a moment. She would push him away, she would resist. But then he thrust deep, so deep her entire womb trembled. At the same instant, a moan escaped her throat, muffled against his lips. The kiss deepened. Images of everything that had happened between them in the past week exploded in her mind. Everything merged into a single moment, eroding the barriers she had built to carry out her vengeance. Her body melted beneath him. Her eyes closed, her arms wrapped tightly around his neck. Far from pushing him away, she pulled him closer, deepening the kiss with a need she dared not admit. His thrusts grew stronger, more desperate, each one drawing muffled moans against her mouth. The kiss ceased to be an invasion and became a silent surrender, a shared desperation. His cock throbbed inside her relentlessly, swollen, tense, each vein pressed by the suffocating grip of that insatiable pussy. The rhythm became chaotic when he could no longer hold back. With a hoarse moan, Renzu sank to the bottom and unleashed another hot torrent inside her. The violent surge made her tremble, her eyes widening again as she felt the scalding liquid fill her completely. But he didn't stop somehow. It seemed he had limitless stamina for this, to the point of surprising even himself. He resumed fucking her mercilessly. Each thrust was deep, heavy, crushing her cervix without mercy. The little demon empress, until then a doll without expression, began to change. Her body reacted on its own, her legs gripping him tighter, her hips trembling in response, and the heat inside her growing ever more suffocating. Then it happened. When an especially deep thrust hit her, a shock coursed through the young empress's entire body. She opened her mouth in a muffled scream, her eyes half closed, her nails scratching his back without realizing. Her pussy trembled violently, contracting so fiercely it seemed to want to swallow his cock entirely. The little demon empress's first orgasm exploded overwhelmingly, shattering any cold mask that remained. Her mind seemed to dissolve into white, every fiber of her body vibrating in absolute pleasure. It was as if she had been swallowed by an incandescent wave, burning from the inside out, unable to breathe, unable to think, only to feel. Renzu moaned loudly as he was crushed by the convulsive grip, his cock being sucked to the root as her heat gushed uncontrollably. And yet, Renzu didn't stop. He kissed her fiercely, stealing her breath, while continuing to thrust deep, ignoring her weakness, as if he wanted to break that coldness once and for all and imprint his presence inside the little demon empress until nothing remained but him. In the midst of the act, he maneuvered the little demon empress's body and turned her onto her stomach, forcing her to support herself on her knees and hands on the golden floor. Her delicate, jade-like body arched almost unrealistically, her slender waist and small hips trembling under his touch. Without giving her time to recover, he gripped her waist firmly and penetrated her again, drawing a muffled moan from her lips. He held her waist tightly and resumed penetrating her with brutality, each thrust echoing through the room in a wet, obscene slap. Her ass swayed with each impact, small, round, perfect in its fragility, and he couldn't restrain himself. His hands slid over her soft buttocks, squeezing, marking, parting each piece of flesh as if he wanted to mold it in his hands. The little demon empress, who before emitted nothing but silence, now moaned uncontrollably. Her parted lips released broken, almost sobbing sounds. Ha, and then. Each thrust drew a muffled scream from her, a hoarse and desperate sound, as if the pleasure were crushing her from within. Her pussy contracted in disordered spasms, making Renzu's cock throb with even greater violence. He gripped her waist firmly, increasing the rhythm, making the thrusts even more frenzied, the wet sounds echoing shamelessly. Her moans mingled with the sound, growing louder. Ahen, ha, ahen. When he parted her cheeks, his eyes met a devastating sight. Her untouched, pink asshole contracted slightly in nervous reflexes, just above her already stretched, swollen, and throbbing pussy from the relentless use of his cock. The contrast between that closed entrance and the gaping slit, dripping with each thrust, sent a shiver down his spine, as if he were facing a forbidden paradise. With each new thrust, he plunged deep, and her little pussy opened entirely around him, sucking him as if it were impossible to let go. The sound of flesh being stretched, the maddening grip, the mix of cum and fluids dripping down her slender thighs, all formed an almost surreal scene. It didn't take long for him to come again, but as if his stamina were limitless, he continued fucking her for a long time in various positions. The two simply lost themselves in pleasure, exploring each other's bodies without caring about the world. /n. Originally, I hadn't planned on writing this more explicit scene, but I realized it is important for the character's development and for marking the turning point in their relationship. After this moment, their bond enters its final stage, gaining greater depth and meaning. In the upcoming chapters, Renzu will finally acquire the Golden Crow bloodline and reveal all of his planning behind it. This will also mark the beginning of a positive and coherent change in his journey, consolidating the growth I have been building for him. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 power stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 23. Chapter 23 Legacy of the Golden Crow. Bonus chapter. 5 new revisions achieved. Illusory Demon Realm, Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. Bang! The golden scarlet barrier that had been enveloping Renzu and the little demon empress shattered suddenly at that moment. At the same time, 9 points of golden light, so brilliant they couldn't be looked at directly, descended from the sky and landed on the little demon empress's body. Before Renzu could even react, her body was already completely engulfed in golden flames and vanished before his eyes. Ha 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 ha! The loud laughter of the golden crow's soul echoed from the sky. You truly are an extraordinary person. Took only 30 days. Much sooner than I expected. Your body is indeed special. But this demon emperor girl has truly opened this noble one's eyes. Though she was a virgin, she was extremely wild. This noble one has suddenly become somewhat curious whether she was giving her all to gain power for revenge, or if that was her innate nature from the start. Ha 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 ha. Where did you take her? Renzu asked indifferently, narrowing his black eyes. After 30 days by the little demon empress's side, it could be said that their relationship had undergone a tremendous transformation. She was now, without a doubt, his wife. She has already lost her virginity, and her body has been properly nourished by your vital yang. Be it her body or her vitality, they would not be burned or destroyed by the Golden Crow's flame power. Things went even smoother than this noble one had anticipated. Just now, this noble one has bestowed upon her 9 drops of the most original Golden Crow blood in her bloodstream. Now she is within the Golden Crow's secret realm, formed by my powers, slowly drawing from the source of power within and, in the process, comprehending the unmatched profound art of my Golden Crow lineage, the Golden Crow's record of the burning world. It takes only 7 days to extract all the source of power, and then she will be able to reach the half-step divine profound realm. But if she wants to leave the secret realm, she must at least comprehend the first 3 levels of the Golden Crow's record of the burning world. If she is too slow and foolish and cannot do so within 3 years, then she might as well die inside. The temperament of this Golden Crow soul was as peculiar as he remembered from the original story. Not only was she violent, she often forcibly sealed others and didn't allow them to leave until her goal was achieved. All according to her own whims, completely ignoring the will of others. She was so domineering it was almost inhuman. Renzu was thinking this in his heart. But of course he didn't dare say it aloud. He was well aware of the consequences of the little demon empress accepting the Golden Crow's power and everything else. But if he had the right items and time, he could heal and treat her. Renzu, do you know why I helped her? The golden scarlet eyes opened in the sky above, enveloping Renzu with an infinite, domineering gaze. She is the successor of the Golden Crow's lineage. Helping her is only natural, isn't it? Renzu said, shrugging. This noble one helping her is only natural? Ha 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 ha. Ridiculous. Her ancestors received the legacy of this noble one's lineage and used it to dominate the illusory demon realm. This noble one's grace toward them is already boundless, and I never owed their clan anything. How can you say that this noble one helping her is only natural? The reason this noble one is helping her now has nothing to do with her race or lineage. It is solely because of you. Because of me? Renzu pointed to himself, stunned for a moment. Wait, had he become the protagonist here now? I mean, he had an entirely different plan to obtain the Golden Crow's legacy that was supposed to start now. But apparently, he didn't need it. As someone aware of and familiar with the original story, he knew what was coming based on the Golden Crow's soul's conversation. You are merely an ordinary mortal, yet you possess the greatest talent this noble one has ever seen. Your body is divine. Your profound veins are unique and extraordinary. Moreover, you possess a body completely immune to the fire element, to the point that this noble one mistook it for the evil fire spirit body granted by the evil god's legacy. Thus, in this world, you are the most suitable living being to inherit the Golden Crow's lineage and wield the Golden Crow's flame. This noble one carries the will of the Golden Crow and has guarded this place for countless years. Now, I have finally found the most perfect successor. The Golden Crow's soul speech made Renzu even more certain of his reasoning. What you're saying is, you want me to inherit the Golden Crow's lineage? Exactly. Your qualifications are 10,000 times better than those of the Demon Emperor clan. In this world, It is impossible for there to be anyone more suitable than you to inherit the Golden Crow's lineage. In your hands, the Golden Crow's flame would burn with infinite heat. Renzu, do you accept this noble one bestowing upon you the Golden Crow's legacy? Obviously, there was no reason for Renzu to refuse, and he immediately said, obtaining a divine power's legacy is naturally the dream of every profound practitioner. I thank the divine Golden Crow God for fulfilling it. Very good. For the first time, there was a hint of genuine delight in the Golden Crow's soul's voice. You truly haven't disappointed me. In that case, let me first erase the Vermilion Bird's lineage from your body. Erase the Vermilion Bird's lineage? Renzu narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? The Golden Crow's lineage is 100 times more honorable than the Vermilion Bird's or the Phoenix's, and the power of the Golden Crow's flames is far superior to both. If you inherit the Golden Crow's lineage, there is naturally no need for the Vermilion Bird's lineage to remain. The Golden Crow's soul's voice was filled with arrogance. Renzu simply said, but you also know that I have immunity and absolute control over the fire element, which gives me control over all others at the same time. The Golden Crow's lineage and the Vermilion Bird's lineage should be able to coexist in my body. Humph! Naive. You actually want my Golden Crow's lineage to coexist with that unworthy Vermilion Bird's lineage in the same body? What a joke. Where the Golden Crow stands, there is no room for the Phoenix or the Vermilion Bird. By receiving my Golden Crow's powers, your lineage will become even nobler, and the power of your flames will increase manifold. There is no reason for you to still need the Vermilion Bird's lineage. Coexisting with it is simply an insult to my Golden Crow's powers. This noble one will never allow that to happen. If you wish to receive the bestowal of this noble one's Golden Crow powers, the Vermilion Bird's lineage in your body must first be completely erased. The Golden Crow's soul's voice was arrogant, resolute, indisputable, and carried an extreme disdain for the Vermilion Bird's lineage. Renzu gave a somewhat sly smile. He knew exactly what to do now. Skipping the part about how to gain the Golden Crow's attention to consider him as an heir, he just needed to follow through with his plans. He shook his head and feigned determination. No, I can inherit the Golden Crow's lineage, but I absolutely cannot allow my Vermilion Bird's lineage to be erased. If the prerequisite for inheriting the Golden Crow's lineage is erasing my Phoenix lineage, then the Golden Crow's power isn't worth having. Presumptuous! Renzu's words undoubtedly enraged the Golden Crow's soul immensely. In your eyes, my Golden Crow's power is not comparable to the mere Vermilion Bird's power? Renzu shook his head and said calmly, I don't know whether the Vermilion Bird's flames are stronger or the Golden Crow's flames are stronger, but the Vermilion Bird's legacy within me is now part of my own lineage and power. It is also part of my life, and only I can decide what to do with it. Even if you are the soul of a god, I won't allow you to interfere. When the Vermilion Bird's spirit bestowed the Vermilion Bird's lineage upon me, it was a sign of its approval of me and its grace. How could I throw that gift away completely for another lineage and power? If I did, it would not only disappoint the Vermilion Bird's spirit that granted me its grace, but it would also be utterly disrespectful. If I had received the Golden Crow's legacy first and the Vermilion Bird's spirit wanted to forcibly erase the Golden Crow's lineage in me before granting me the Vermilion Bird's legacy, I would reject it in the same way. This has nothing to do with whether the Golden Crow's power is stronger or the Vermilion Bird's power is stronger, but as a human. This is the most basic principle and foundation. You cannot bear to coexist with the Vermilion Bird's lineage, and I cannot bear my own strength being forcibly erased. So, although I desire the Golden Crow's power, it seems it was not meant to be after all. After saying all this, he wore a righteous and noble expression. Ha 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 ha. The Golden Crow's soul laughed loudly, shaking the sky, but there was no longer anger in her laughter. What stubborn morals you have. Your obstinate temperament coincidentally suits my taste exactly and makes me unwilling to let you go. The most perfect successor. Although you have a stubborn temperament, true stubbornness always relies on powerful strength. You have no right to choose in my presence. Rejecting my Golden Crow's inheritance just to keep that inferior Vermilion Bird's lineage. I won't allow it. The golden scarlet eyes in the sky widened, and the burning golden light suddenly intensified several times over. It was so bright that Renzu couldn't look directly at it. At the same time, golden scarlet flames fell from the sky like a storm, becoming an infinite sea of flames flooding into Renzu. His body wouldn't be harmed even by flames far hotter, but he couldn't open his eyes because of the terrifying Golden Crow's flames, the most fearsome in the world. He instinctively raised his arms in front of his body and roared deeply, "What are you going to do?" Just as he made a sound, his entire body suddenly trembled violently. A loud bang echoed in his brain, and his consciousness rapidly collapsed. He saw an infinite sea of golden flames, but these golden flames were not in his vision. They were burning deep in his heart. His mind. Slowly, the golden flames spread infinitely and burned his profound veins. The flame's radiance changed the original colors of his profound veins to a pure golden hue and then spread to every tendon, every drop of his blood, until every cell in his body was burning. Every part of his body and all his organs were burning, but he felt nothing. His consciousness could no longer sense the existence of his body. These flames had begun to spread toward his soul, burning toward the depths of his soul. What are you doing? The golden crow's flames burning throughout his body were not only about to completely destroy the existence of the vermilion bird's lineage, but the golden crow's flames spreading toward his soul were clearly aiming to erase the vermilion bird's mark on his forehead and all his memories of the salvation flames, including the vermilion bird's consoling spirit song. Fortunately, he came prepared. The golden crow's soul's voice sounded within the depths of his soul at that moment, and all his guesses became reality. As a complete heir of the vermilion bird, erasing everything is a bit difficult for this noble one, but it will be worth it for you. Remarkable. You were able to cultivate to the 10th stage of the vermilion bird's consoling spirit song. You are indeed this noble one's right choice. But the mere vermilion bird's consoling spirit song cannot compare to the golden crow's record of the burning world. Just wait until this noble one has erased everything in your body and mind about the vermilion bird. Your unique body is the only one worthy of carrying my golden crow's power. Boom! Renzu's heart and soul exploded as if a bolt from the 9 heavens had struck him. Infinite golden flames came crashing down like roaring waves under a storm and rushed fiercely into his mind. In an instant, there was only infinite flame left in his mind and nothing else. He quickly circulated his cultivation art and casually resisted it, while pretending. But apparently, his preparations were unnecessary. He had forgotten one fact. The vermilion bird's soul origin he had received upon purifying his lineage through the marrow tempering. Before erasing the vermilion bird's lineage in his body, it was necessary to erase the vermilion bird's mark in his soul first. That way, the vermilion bird's blood in his body would lose its roots and could thus be easily obliterated in a fraction of a second. In the blink of an eye, the vermilion bird's mark within Renzu's soul domain appeared before the golden crow's soul's consciousness. For her to destroy the simple vermilion bird's mark would be as easy as blinking. Humph! This noble one unexpectedly had to take the initiative and go through great pains to pass on her lineage. This is all because of you, a monstrosity of that red chicken, who stole you first. Get out of there. Following her thoughts, a column of golden flame shot from the sea of flames and rushed toward the vermilion bird's mark. Boom! A dull booming sound echoed within Renzu's soul, and golden flames exploded violently. However, within the flames that illuminated the entire soul domain, the vermilion bird's mark was not destroyed. Instead, it shone with an intense blood-red color. It was so intense, not at all weaker than the radiance of the golden crow's flames. Scree! An extremely resonant and piercing cry of the vermilion bird sounded majestically, and a blood-red vermilion bird figure, trailing long fiery feathers, soared toward the sky. The golden crow's flames around it, as if swallowed by violent winds, were all forced into a corner of the soul, unable to approach. What? Vermilion bird's soul origin? At that moment, the golden crow's flames no longer approached, and the golden crow's soul's consciousness was in complete shock. The vermilion bird gave its soul origin. This human, what is going on? Why in the world? The vermilion bird's soul figure floated in the middle of Renzu's soul, looking arrogantly at the golden crow's flames surrounding it. The two extremely radiant glows reflected off each other, and the golden crow's flames, which had previously sworn to exterminate the vermilion bird's mark, did not move forward for a long time. The golden crow's soul's shock and confusion persisted for a long time. When her emotions stabilized, she did not choose to suppress the vermilion bird's soul because she was incapable of it, but looked elsewhere and began sifting through all of Renzu's memories. She discovered that he was average just a year ago, before something mysterious happened, and his talent underwent a complete transformation. The past year, where he cultivated from the elemental profound realm to the sky profound realm, left her numb. What was going on? Why did his fate change out of nowhere? Could it be he was the chosen one to deal with that calamity? How did he know about her? What were all these memories? Was he a seer? In 30 short breaths, all of Renzu's memories surged into the golden crow's soul's consciousness. His soul sea continued to be bombarded by the golden crow's flames, but the golden flames made no movement for a long time, and the golden crow soul made no sound for a long time. It was as if, in the silence, she was making a difficult decision. /N. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, If you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 24. Chapter 24 plans are merely that complete air. Bonus Chapter 2K Collections. All of Renzu's planning had led him to this moment. After months of preparation, he had finally achieved his goal. For 8 long months, Renzu worked tirelessly to create a profound art capable of concealing the memories of his past life. He knew that the Golden Crow or any other god seeking the inheritance would have the power to probe his memories. Allowing that would be an unacceptable risk. The result of his efforts was the profound art of the heavenly veil of destiny reversal. Combining his vast knowledge of medicine with his innate creativity and absolute control over profound energy, Renzu developed an unprecedented technique. Through it, he created a neural inhibition barrier capable of preventing the reactivation of neuron clusters linked to specific memories. In simple terms, it was like turning off memory clusters without causing damage to the rest of the brain. To reinforce the illusion, he implanted artificial signals, modulated patterns of profound energy, that mimicked false engrams, memory records that seemed to have been truly lived. In other words, this profound art not only concealed memories but also selectively chose what would be revealed. More than erasing, it reprogrammed destiny, weaving illusions so convincing that even the residual spirit of a true god could not distinguish them from reality. Renzu used this art to create a carefully crafted history, suitable for receiving the Golden Crow's inheritance. However, he knew that before granting him the legacy, the Golden Crow would attempt to erase his vermilion bird lineage. Anticipating this, he prepared a second safeguard, the profound art of the nameless abyss seal. This technique, based on his spatial manipulation through the ancestral spatial symbol, concealed both the soul mark and the bloodline within a separate void space detached from his body and spirit. However, there was a dangerous limitation. The concealment could not last more than 24 hours. Beyond that limit, Renzu risked permanently losing the soul mark and the vermilion bird lineage. With these two profound arts, the heavenly veil of destiny reversal and the nameless abyss seal, Renzu's plan was clear. Convince the Golden Crow to allow him to participate in the trials, inherit its power, and, at the decisive moment, deceive even the Golden Crow's residual spirit. But apparently, his plans worked out better than expected. The Golden Crow took an interest in his unique talent and chose him as its heir without requiring him to undergo the trials. It was easier than he had thought. Renzu let out a mental sigh before pretending to regain the consciousness that had been concealed by his nameless abyss seal earlier, while carefully paying attention to the process. He sat up abruptly, opened his eyes, and saw a pair of golden pupils staring intently at him from the heavens. Feigning indignation, Renzu said, "You!" But he stopped abruptly, as if he had discovered something. As he had already seen, the vermilion bird mark was still within his soul, and his lineage was intact. At the same time, within his body, there was clearly another type of fiery energy. Renzu extended both hands to prove it, and 2 balls of flame ignited in his palms simultaneously. One was blood red, and the other was a scarlet flame. However, the biggest difference was that the flames in his left hand burned calmly, while the flames in his right palm. It was evident there was no wind in the area, yet the flames danced and swayed violently, as if they were a ferocious beast. Moreover, they burned with a frenzied aura that would make anyone's heart race. 2 balls of flame. One as calm as the infinite oceans, the other as terrifying as torrential waves. The flame in his left hand was the vermilion bird flame, which Renzu was familiar with. In his right hand was a flame even more scorching than the vermilion birds, a flame that exuded a tyrannical aura. He was pulled from his thoughts by the voice of the Golden Crow. "HNG, you unexpectedly woke up quickly. When the Golden Crow's blood enters the body of other living creatures, it should be harder to overcome than a ferocious beast. It could even make the creature burn directly. Yet, in your body it became so tame. In just 1 hour, and even while unconscious, you managed to absorb 30%. As expected of the one I recognize as my heir, and who possesses the vermilion bird's soul." The Golden Crow's voice was incomparably dull and dejected, and Renzu was unsure if he misheard when he detected faint signs of weakness in her tone. "You infused the Golden Crow's bloodline into my body, but didn't erase the vermilion bird's lineage? What else?" The Golden Crow's soul said coldly. "Humph. Don't naively think this noble one lacks the ability to erase your vermilion bird lineage. It's just that this noble one suddenly felt merciful and changed her decision." What a joke. This noble one actually allowed the Golden Crow's lineage and the vermilion bird's lineage to coexist in a single body. Ha 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 ha. That's the greatest joke. Renzu smiled inwardly but outwardly showed only a strange expression. The Golden Crow's voice sounded again. Although this noble one allowed the golden crow's lineage and the vermilion bird's lineage to coexist within your body, that absolutely does not mean this noble one admits the vermilion bird's lineage is on equal footing with the golden crow's. The golden crow is a divine being born from the core of the sun. The golden crow's flames are the strongest in this world. How could the vermilion bird's flames compare? When you've integrated the golden crow's lineage into your body and comprehended the golden crow's record of the burning world, you shouldn't even think about using the inferior vermilion bird flame. This noble one has granted you all the blood she has in stock, which is far more than what the vermilion bird gave you. The vermilion bird's soul bestowed upon you 10 volumes of the vermilion bird's spirit consoling song. But this noble one will mark your soul with the 10 volumes of the golden crow's record of the burning world. That vermilion bird soul gave you a great gift. This noble one will grant you an even greater gift. The golden crow's soul's words belittled the vermilion bird's flames at every turn. She initially scoffed at allowing the golden crow's lineage and the vermilion bird's lineage to coexist. And now, every concession she made to Renzu surpassed the legacy he had previously received. Beneath her tyrannical, powerful, and violent exterior, how was she any different from an ordinary competitive woman unwilling to lose? The great gift the vermilion bird's soul guaranteed you truly shocked this noble one. However, this noble one's gift is no worse than that of that red chicken. At that moment, the golden pupils gleamed, and for an instant, the entire sky was enveloped in golden light. The source of the light slowly floated downward and landed in front of Renzu, who extended his arm and carefully touched the golden light source. Upon contact with Renzu's hand, the glow abruptly stopped. Appearing before Renzu's eyes was an ordinary-looking jade, about the size of a fist. The jade could be considered translucent and dazzling, and 9 golden dots were clearly visible. In fact, these 9 dots were obviously connected by a golden thread. This was the 9 Suns jade? He remembered it was something the golden crow would have given to Yun Che in the original story, and it ended up in his hands. What an impressive item he had received. The 9 Suns jade is one of the highest-level divine jades in the primordial world. When the full power of a 9 Suns jade is unleashed, it is enough to obliterate the entire illusory demon realm in an instant. If he could refine such an object, his power would soar to another level. Yun Che in the original story couldn't because he was too weak and used it for other purposes, but he was different. His terrifying physique and unique profound veins allowed him to refine such an object. Perhaps that's why the Golden Crow gave him this item? He carefully lifted the divine 9 Suns jade. Golden Crow divine god. This 9 Suns jade is too precious. Why did you gift it to me? The Golden Crow's soul was not surprised that he knew about the 9 Suns jade. You must already know, this noble one knows that your unique profound veins and physical body can help you refine it. With this, you should be able to enter the Emperor Profound Realm or even the Tyrant Profound Realm once it's fully refined. But this noble one recommends you do so gradually over the next year to avoid any issues. The Golden Crow's soul said softly, as if unsurprised that he knew the name 9 Suns Jade. Renzu deftly stored the 9 Suns Jade in his spatial ring, and then sincerely thanked the Golden Crow's soul. I thank the Golden Crow for its generosity. I hope the Golden Crow Divine God forgives my earlier discourteous words. Humph! Why would this noble one lower herself to the level of a human? The Golden Crow's soul said coldly. At that moment her pupils gleamed. Renzu's body was instantly engulfed in flames and began to float. This is... Renzu's face was full of doubt as he looked around. The Sea of Death is the best place for you to train. For the time being, you will focus on refining the Golden Crow's blood within the Sea of Death and comprehending the Golden Crow's record of the burning world that this noble one has granted you. This noble one will naturally allow you to return once your little demon empress has broken through the barrier. Until then, don't even think about leaving the Sea of Death. All right, Renzu agreed. He had no reason to oppose the decision. The Sea of Death was indeed the most suitable place for him to cultivate. And also, once you've refined the Golden Crow's blood, eat this. The Golden Crow's golden eyes gleamed again, and a point of blazing light condensed in front of Renzu. The fire flickered for a few moments before taking the shape of a small pill, which slowly descended to rest in his hands. It was a deep red, like embers about to erupt into flames, but golden lines ran across its surface, pulsing as if they were living veins. Renzu held it carefully, feeling the heat emanating from it. This is the Crimson Ascension Solar Pill. The Golden Crow's soul's voice echoed, laced with arrogance and disdain. After you've refined all the blood I've granted you, you will devour this pill. It will force your profound strength to leap forward. With this pill, you'll be able to break through to the 5th level of the Sky Profound Realm. Renzu raised his eyebrows slightly, surprised by the intensity of the energy he felt just by touching it. The Golden Crow snorted, the sound echoing like muffled thunder in the golden sky. Humph! That ridiculous red chicken gifted you a pill that allowed you to cross a single realm? What a joke. This noble one is providing you with resources to surpass two great realms at once. The difference is like heaven and earth. There's no comparison between this noble one's benevolence and that feathered worm's stinginess. The golden flame in her pupils flickered, almost as if she were laughing at her own statement. But there was also a hint of childish competitiveness hidden in every word. Ranzu kept his face serene, though inwardly he wanted to laugh at how the golden crow seemed to compete with the vermilion bird even in gifts. He bowed his head slightly and said respectfully, "Then I will receive this gift with gratitude, golden crow divine god. I will make the best use of it." The golden flames around trembled as if the soul was pleased with his response. "Now you are this noble one's complete heir. Far better than that red chicken's. Ha 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 ha. You are forbidden from using his inferior flames." Without waiting for Ranzu to say another word, the pure golden pupils gleamed, and he vanished from the air, sent directly into the boundless sea of death by the golden crow's soul. /N. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 25. Chapter 25 Unparalleled Talent Envy of the Golden Crow. Bonus Chapter 100 Power Stones. Within the Valley of the Golden Crow's lightning flame, there was a specific place called the Sea of Death. The Sea of Death had earned its name due to how dangerous it was. All that one could see in it was a blood-red scene, as if the very horizon had been stained by the blood of ancient gods. It was a sea of lava, an incandescent ocean that had boiled ceaselessly for 10,000 years, spewing heat and destruction like the heart of an immortal fury. The blazing surface bubbled in flaming waves, spitting columns of fire that rose and collapsed in suffocating roars, like the cry of a trapped titan. The air around it trembled with the intensity of the heat, distorting vision and space itself, as if reality were on the verge of unraveling. And there, 1,500 kilometers from the Sea of Death, the landscape was no less terrifying. A scorched desert, ashes and black rocks scattered like the charred bones of a land that had already been devoured by hell. It was a place where even the wind seemed to burn. The scorching wave of heat in the air above the Sea of Death was even more terrifying than the deep flames unleashed by an ordinary ruler. The fire spirits wandering above the air all emitted the aura of the profound tyrant realm. Moreover, it is said that deep within the Sea of Death, fire spirits of the profound sovereign realm are born. Falling into the Sea of Death would certainly mean death for anyone. There was no possibility of survival, for even a 10th level profound sovereign realm cultivator who fell into it would be melted to ashes in no more than 10 breaths. After being thrown into this place by the Golden Crow, Ranzu's body sank into the incandescent sea as if it had been swallowed by the very heart of the sun. The lava enveloped him in a searing embrace that not even the most powerful sovereigns would dare face. For a moment, his body seemed to disappear within the scarlet fury, as if reduced to nothing, but due to the 10 extreme das, the lava had no effect on him. Mastering the laws of fire in their absolute form had its advantages. For him, flames were mere illusions with no effect. It didn't matter if it was an ordinary blaze or the most powerful flames conceived by science, the so-called absolute fire, where all matter disintegrates at an atomic level. Even at that extreme point, where even the vacuum of space would seem to burn, he would feel nothing. The heat did not burn him, the oxygen did not suffocate him, and combustion could not reach him. Fire simply ceased to exist in his presence, as if the very laws of thermodynamics were forced to bow to his existence. To him, there was no difference between a lit candle and an erupting star. Both were just fragile fragments of energy, incapable of even scratching his skin. Damned flaming bird, a warning would have been nice, you know? He cursed in his heart before deciding to emerge from the lava. The flaming surface shattered. Boom! An explosion of fire rose like a colossal dragon, and Ranzu slowly emerged, rising to the top of the sea of lava, quickly standing on the surface as if on solid ground. His clothes had been completely consumed by the lava, revealing a body that seemed sculpted by the gods. Muscles defined in perfect proportions, without excess, without flaws, just absolute harmony, as if every detail had been crafted with divine purpose. His skin, fair and immaculate, reflected the glow of the magma, making him even more ethereal. If anyone were present, their heart would be stolen by the sight. A man who did not seem to belong to this world, but rather to an immortal realm above all heavens. His long black hair cascaded like a stream of wet silk down to his shoulders, shimmering under the heat of the burning sea. His eyes, deep and abyssal, were an inhuman black, devoid of any emotion, so cold and impenetrable that they could freeze even the lava around him. Renzu let out a faint sigh, as if discarding the last fraction of mortal fatigue. Then he crossed his legs in the void, sitting atop the flaming surface of the infernal sea, untouched by the heat. Then he closed his eyes. Golden flames awakened within his body, emerging in intricate patterns that spread across his skin like living tattoos. A tyrannical pressure filled the air, causing the fire spirits of the Sea of Death to instinctively retreat, like beasts cowering before the roar of an absolute king. The blood of the Golden Crow roared within his veins like rivers of divine magma. He guided this fierce energy with absolute perfection, his refined control allowing every drop to be absorbed and integrated without waste or issue. At the same time, golden lines of flames condensed before his consciousness. The flaming characters of the Golden Crow's record of the burning world. First stage, second stage, third stage. Each level of the profound art was comprehended and mastered by Renzu as if it had been created specifically for him. The flames danced around his body, alternating between oceanic calm and torrential fury, until 10 blazing suns slowly spun behind his figure, illuminating the Sea of Death as if they were the original stars of the firmament. 3 hours passed. In the final moment, an explosive wave of power erupted from his body. The entire sea seemed to tremble, columns of lava shot into the sky, and the fire spirits retreated in reverence. He had successfully mastered all 10 stages of the Golden Crow's record of the burning world, due to his understanding of the laws of fire. Moreover, all the blood of the Golden Crow had been absorbed. Among the scorching clouds, 2 colossal eyes opened, reflecting the very magma sea of the world below. They were the eyes of the Golden Crow. For a brief moment, everything around fell silent. The ocean of lava ceased its roars, the elemental spirits froze in the air, and even the heat that had always dominated that domain seemed to hesitate. The soul of the Golden Crow observed the young man sitting atop the infernal sea, and its immortal consciousness was struck with disbelief. 3 hours. That was the time that had passed. A period so insignificant that, for the Golden Crow, it was merely a blink of an eye. Yet, before its own eyes, Renzu had traversed the entire Golden Crow's record of the burning world, something it had never seen happen in the thousands of years of its life. Shock coursed through its ancestral soul. The impossible had been realized before it. It seemed that she had truly made the right decision in granting her lineage to the boy. Moreover, she did not regret giving him the origin of her soul, even if it meant she would disappear in 10 years. It was still worth it. After all, he was, without a doubt, the most talented person she had ever encountered. As she watched him take the Crimson Ascension solar pill and swallow it to refine, she closed her eyes and shifted her attention to the other little girl, who had less talent than the boy. A trace of envy arose in her heart. After all, that girl had been lucky. She had won over someone so beautiful and talented that, in her era, he would have been desired even by the myriad of goddesses, including herself. Without a doubt, he would be the target of her heart, and obviously, that noble woman would have easily won him over. Unaware of the Golden Crow's soul's thoughts, Renzu closed his eyes, feeling the Crimson Ascension solar pill dissolve in his body like a miniature sun, spreading blazing flames that coursed through every channel, every meridian, every vein. The energy was violent and immense, like an erupting sea, trying to tear him apart from within. But his will and absolute understanding of the laws of fire transformed that storm into docility, like a lord taming his beasts. From what he knew, the Crimson Ascension solar pill was forged from a single drop of the Golden Crow's blood, combined with various materials easily found in a resource-rich place like the Valley of the Golden Crow's lightning flame. He supposed she must have refined it herself, using part of her power after making him merge with her lineage, to further boost his cultivation. Perhaps it was just a petty rivalry against the vermilion bird, as he had said, or maybe just an attempt to please him, fascinated by his stunning beauty and unparalleled talent. The initial moments were chaotic, the pill's power clashing against the Golden Crow's blood he had recently absorbed, as if both were competing for sovereignty within him. But with unwavering firmness, Renzu guided this wild energy until it integrated in perfect harmony. Time dragged on in an endless cycle of refinement. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. On the 7th day, when the last trace of the pill's energy was finally assimilated, a deafening roar echoed from Renzu's body. It was as if the heavens and earth had acknowledged his ascension. The Sea of Death erupted in columns of lava that reached the firmament, and 10,000 fire spirits howled in reverence. The pressure emanating from his body had completely changed. His aura, previously at the first level of the profound sky realm, had now risen imposingly, reaching the 5th level of the profound sky realm, exactly as the Golden Crow had predicted. Although he had successfully refined the pill and jumped 4 cultivation levels in just a few days, his heart remained calm and indifferent. Knowing he had time until the little demon empress finished inheriting the Golden Crow's power, he decided to continue his practice without haste. This time, he wanted to cultivate his self-created technique. The art of the slaughter god was a technique he had been developing on his own, step by step, refining it through his battle experiences. Until then, it had been merely a flow of pure killing intent, capable of killing weaker enemies with a thought or paralyzing someone with less willpower to the point of making them wet themselves in fear. But now, with his understanding of the law of darkness, he decided to create the second stage of his technique. In his mind, images arose. A monstrous being with 4 arms and 2 faces slicing through an entire city with its unparalleled curse technique. The inspiration for the second stage came from this king of curses from another world. He named the second stage 4-armed, 2-faced demon in its honor. His idea was to use his killing intent to create cuts through invisible, colorless, and intangible blades. These could be shaped according to his will, sharp to the point of surpassing the target's durability, automatically adjusting the invisible edge until nothing could resist. He felt that creating the second stage wouldn't be too difficult, but it would take time. He spent a few hours studying and refining this idea calmly, until he felt he still lacked a deeper understanding of the law of darkness to achieve success. Then, he took out the 9 Suns jade and held it firmly in his hand, beginning to slowly absorb its energy through his cultivation method. Gradually, he gained new insights into the element of darkness, while his cultivation steadily strengthened. When he wasn't doing any of these things, he was within the Ashura field of his martial intent, slaying countless enemies there and refining his skills. Sometimes he paused to adjust his mindset. He had achieved his goal and now had to aim for something new. Obviously, his goal this time would be to head to the profound sky continent in pursuit of the Moonslaughter Devil Sovereign to obtain his devil origin orb and also a certain, more terrifying celestial profound treasure suited for a villain. The Wheel of Myriad Tribulations of the Evil Infant, ranked second among the 7 celestial profound treasures. But that was for the future. He still had many things to deal with. Setting aside his reflections on his future plans, he resolved to change. This thought had already surfaced when he realized his shortcomings after being pressured by the little demon empress. But while training alone in the Sea of Death, he decided to take this step more deeply. Change doesn't need thunder or a personal apocalypse to happen. Sometimes it happens in the silence of a thought in the moment you decide that, well, you're not going to be the same idiot as before. He could have let himself be carried away by impulses, childish anger, or the desire to prove something to the world. But instead, he simply decided to stop. Stop repeating the same mistakes. Stop torturing himself with useless obsessions. Stop turning every little frustration into an epic drama worthy of a cheap novel. That's it. An internal, silent decision that no one would notice if not for himself. It's funny to think about it. There was no grand event, no monumental betrayal, no battle that shook worlds. There was just him, sitting with his own thoughts, laughing a bit bitterly. At all the times he'd let himself be consumed by ridiculous things. He could have made worse choices, could have become someone despicable, and frankly, in another life maybe he would have. But not this time. He decided it wasn't worth repeating that kind of ploy to win a woman, as he had done with the little demon empress. Yes, he was a villain, but even villains have a minimum of dignity. He didn't want to end up becoming a second Scumche. Speaking of which, he also decided to let go of that useless fixation with that trash and simply move forward, as if he were nothing more than an irrelevant insect. Of course, if the chance arose, he'd kill him without hesitation and take all his legacies, since it'd be foolish not to take advantage. But making that the main mission of his life? Please, he had much better things to do. He wanted to be the strongest in this world and would do everything to achieve that goal. With that in mind, he continued cultivating in the Sea of Death, adjusting his mindset and refining his skills. And so, time passed quickly. /N. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 26. Chapter 26. You Are My Wife. Bonus Chapter 100 Power Stones. Illusory Demon Realm, north of the Demon Imperial City. Entrance to the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. At this moment, the deeply silent protective formation suddenly flickered with a scarlet golden light, and following that, it began to slowly and gently rotate, while 2 human figures appeared under the light of the Golden Crow's profound formation, as if the space had been torn apart and they had stepped out of a rift. We've finally come out. Renzu deeply inhaled the air that was no longer scorching. It had only been 3 short months, but it felt as though an entire lifetime had passed. After 3 months of training, he had finally reached his former cultivation level. He was now at the first level of the Emperor Profound Realm. His rapid breakthrough was related to the daily absorption of the Nine Suns Jade. If it weren't for this gift given by the Golden Crow, it would have taken him several months to achieve this profound strength. In addition to his rapid progress in cultivation, he had also created the third stage of the Slaughter God art beyond the second stage he had been working on. This third volume was essentially a domain that every profound practitioner at the level of a throne could create. Following his spark of inspiration, his domain was essentially the malevolent sanctuary of the King of Curses, which he had named as such in homage once again. His domain relentlessly struck anything within its effective range with slashing attacks that were practically infinite. One thing he realized while creating his domain was that his talent was indeed at the level he had thought when he absorbed the Prime World Liquid. Essentially, he could copy any profound art he saw with his own eyes after witnessing it just once, and if he were to learn it on his own, no matter how complex the profound art was, he could master it in a few hours. Even creating his own profound art, which was a highly complex process, was very easy for him. While reflecting on his productive months, a delicate and petite girl stood by his side, reaching only up to his shoulder and wrapped in gray robes. She appeared exactly as delicate as she was, with an extremely beautiful face that could outshine the beauty of the heavens and the earth and the radiance of the sun and moon. But her gaze was completely covered with an endless cold detachment, making it almost impossible to detect any trace of emotion that a living being should possess. And what was most striking was a scarlet golden flame mark glowing between her eyebrows. A demon emperor who awakened their Golden Crow lineage would have the Golden Crow mark appear between their eyebrows, signifying their status. All the Golden Crow marks on past demon emperors were of a faded golden color and could be hidden at any time, but the mark between her eyebrows was a blazing scarlet golden color that could never be concealed, because that mark was burning her life away. The moment that mark dissipated, it would mean her life energy had been exhausted. Her entire aura had undergone a tremendous transformation. He knew what it meant. Simply put, the little demon empress beside him had become so powerful that she might have already broken through the limits of this world, becoming so strong that her power had become illusory. I thought Duke Ming and that clown would be waiting for us, or at least have sent someone to keep watch, but there's no one. That's very strange. Renzu inspected his surroundings, but he didn't see a single person's figure, nor did he sense the presence of any living creatures. He let out a huge sigh and said, with a calm and detached voice but a glint of concern in his gaze as he glanced at her, "Could something big be happening in the Demon Imperial City? Also, Kyre, what level have you reached in your cultivation of the Golden Crow's record of the Burning World?" He turned his body and asked, although the relationship between him and the little demon empress had become completely different from what it used to be, and she even allowed him to call her by such an affectionate name. She had been maintaining a certain distance ever since they left their seclusion, as if the two of them didn't know each other. Third level. The little demon empress looked straight ahead, her voice as flat as still water, with not a single fluctuation detectable. "Oh, I reached the 10th level a few days ago," Renzu said with complete seriousness, without pride, just stating something inevitable. His expression was calm, almost indifferent, but his eyes rested gently on her, as if wishing she would notice how much he was still there for her. He hoped she would at least show a trace of surprise, especially since he doubted she even knew there was a 10th stage of the Golden Crow's record of the Burning World, as the records of the illusory Demon Realm's royal family only went up to the 7th stage. The Golden Crow's soul had explained that it hadn't granted the 10th stage to anyone because it hadn't found anyone worthy. However, he was disappointed, as there wasn't even a slight change in the little demon empress's expression. Her dark, somber eyes remained fixed on the direction of the Demon Imperial City, unperturbed and emotionless. He received no response whatsoever. After the little demon empress's lineage had fully awakened, and they had left the Golden Crow's secret realm, he felt her aura had undergone a tremendous change. No, this change might have come even earlier than that. Perhaps it was during the moment she forcibly pushed him to the ground. For the sake of achieving her revenge and desire for power, she seemed to have completely annihilated herself, including her own feelings in life. The power she had desired had been achieved, but her emotions had also been sealed, and even her life was rapidly fading away. She stood there silently, without making a single sound or taking a single breath, as if she were the most beautiful lifelike doll in the world. But behind that icy mask, her heart trembled. Hearing him speak to her so affectionately, a wave of regret and love surged through her. She remembered the moment when, in her blind pursuit of power, she had forced Renzu to the ground, ignoring his dignity, ignoring his feelings. And yet, he was still there, indifferent to the world but loving toward her, walking by her side without demands. The pain of having hurt him gnawed at her from within, while her chest burned with a love she could no longer hide but didn't know how to express. Just as Renzu was about to speak about what they had discussed during that month they spent together, he saw a gray figure flicker in the corner of his eye. In an instant, the little demon empress had traveled 350 meters from their location. Ah! Wait for me! Renzu smiled faintly as he saw the gray figure dart forward like a bolt of lightning. Without haste, he simply took a deep breath, adjusting his profound energy. Then, with a single step, he tore through space, and in the blink of an eye, he was already by her side, matching her speed with disconcerting ease. Kyre! His voice was calm, but there was an unshakable firmness in it. We've already had this conversation. So why are you treating me as if nothing happened? The little demon empress didn't respond immediately. Her cold and distant gaze remained fixed on the horizon, as if the demon imperial city were the only thing that mattered. But Renzu wasn't intimidated by her silence. He leaned slightly forward, forcing her to acknowledge his presence, and with a faint, ironic smile, he added, "Don't tell me you've already forgotten? You yourself told me you loved me, while writing me like there was no tomorrow, moaning non-stop." His words struck her like a thunderbolt. The little demon empress's face remained pale and rigid, but the delicate tips of her ears instantly turned a crimson shade. No matter how much she tried to maintain her facade of absolute coldness, her body betrayed her subtly. "Renzu!" Her voice finally emerged, sharp and icy. "Don't say such ridiculous things again." But he only chuckled softly, with that warm indifference so characteristic of him. Without waiting for her to pull away further, Renzu grabbed her arm mid-air, abruptly halting her flight. The two stopped, floating in the open sky, facing each other in silence. He pulled her a little closer, their breaths mingling. His deep, black eyes, like an endless abyss, locked onto hers. "As I've said many times before, and you even agreed, though considering your state of ecstasy, let's ignore that. Ahem. Well, from now on, you are my wife." The little demon empress's eyes widened for a moment before narrowing into a cold, proud expression. "Don't talk nonsense." She tried to pull her arm back, but his gentle strength didn't allow it. "I never agreed to that." Renzu only smiled, and without giving her room for further protests, he leaned in and sealed her lips with a kiss. It wasn't invasive or fierce, but a firm and gentle contact, filled with a tenderness that contrasted with the cruelty of the world they lived in. The little demon empress froze. Inside, her heart raced as if it would explode, but outwardly, she maintained her rigid expression, as if nothing could shake her. Still, the faint tremble in her fingers betrayed the storm raging within her. When he pulled back just enough to speak, his eyes remained fixed on hers. "I'm by your side, Kyre. I'll help with your revenge, and I'll be there whenever you need me." His hand gently rose to her face, holding it with both firmness and care. "And even if you say you don't want me, I'll still be here. Be honest and look at me in my eyes, and tell me you feel nothing for me." The air seemed to stop between them. Renzu's deep, unyielding black eyes collided with the little demon empress's dark, proud ones. She tried to speak, tried to let out a cold denial, but the words wouldn't come. Her heart pounded so loudly it seemed to echo in her ears. Finally, she huffed and looked away, her cheeks now faintly flushed. "You're insufferable," she muttered with that typical tone of someone trying to hide something. "Since that day you were already mine. There's no use denying it. I will take responsibility. So yes, I'll be your wife." The words came out dry, harsh, as if forced, but deep down, they carried immense weight. For her, admitting something like that was harder than facing 1,000 enemies. And yet, she had done it. Renzu, however, didn't mock or tease her further. He simply watched her in silence, as if he wanted to etch this moment into his memory forever. Then, with a faint smile, he pulled her close again and wrapped an arm around her, holding her against his chest. The little demon empress didn't resist this time. She remained rigid for only a few seconds before slowly relaxing, allowing herself to feel the warmth that contrasted with the cold consuming her life day by day. Inside, her thoughts were a whirlwind. 3 years. That's all she had left. She would need to leave a descendant to carry on her royal lineage, and perhaps she could at least leave something for him too. If she couldn't give him a lifetime by his side, at least she could give him a descendant. A legacy of the two of them. That's how she saw it. Renzu didn't need to hear the unspoken words. Just by the way she rested her head against his chest, he knew what was going through her mind. And even if she tried to deny it, he could clearly feel the love hidden behind her mask of coldness. He took a deep breath, looking at the horizon alongside her. The demon imperial city still seemed distant, but the moment of confrontation was inevitably approaching. And, unlike before, this was no longer just the little demon empress's fight. It was their fight. Kyr. He broke the silence after a few minutes, his voice low and firm. If there are only 3 years left, I'll make them the most meaningful time of your life. And when the end comes, if there's anything you need to carry, I'll carry it for you. And I'll find a way to stop you from dying. So trust me. She closed her eyes for a moment, hiding the emotion threatening to overflow. When she opened them again, they were cold once more. Don't say foolish things. Take care of yourself first. I don't need your pity. Renzu smiled. He didn't correct her or argue. He knew that behind those harsh words hid the purest desire to keep him from being hurt by her. As you wish, wife. He replied in a light, almost playful tone, knowing full well that calling her that would make her blush again. And, as expected, she turned her face, trying to hide the flush creeping up her ears. I already told you, don't call me that. But in her heart, for the first time in many years, the little demon empress felt less alone. She quickly said, now let's go. Before he could respond, she shot forward toward the demon imperial city. The two agreed to fly and check the situation instead of teleporting through Renzu's treasure as they had done to leave the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. Appearing out of nowhere before fully understanding the situation didn't seem like a good idea. What if they teleported into the middle of something important and put the lives of the illusory demon realm's inhabitants in danger? It was the little demon empress's idea to be cautious about this. So, it was better to go there and hide to assess the situation before acting. This way, it was much better to fly and use their ability to conceal both of them. They didn't know what Duke Ming was up to, although Renzu could make a guess based on what he knew from the original story. Putting that aside, looking at her delicate back, Renzu silently agreed in his heart. From the moment he entered the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley until now, for months had passed. A great many things could have happened in that time, so she was undoubtedly and incomparably worried about the current situation in the Demon Imperial City. Hello, everyone. Today I want to open my heart to you and also share a very special piece of news. Many of you have been following me for some time now, reading my stories, commenting, supporting, and cheering with each new chapter. Writing has always been more than just a hobby for me, since I dream of becoming a professional writer. And that is exactly what I want to talk to you about. Specifically about my Patreon, a platform where you can support my work and, in return, receive exclusive rewards. There, besides being able to read advanced chapters of the stories I already post here, you will also have access to new exclusive stories that will only be available there. And here comes the big news. Open Book, The Vampire Diaries. I'm Sukuna. Open Book. This is the first exclusive story on Patreon, and I am very excited to share it with you. It mixes one of the most beloved universes of contemporary fantasy, The Vampire Diaries, with the devastating and fascinating power of the King of Curses, Sukuna, from Jujutsu Kaisen. Here is the official synopsis to spark your curiosity. Synopsis: The Vampire Diaries. I'm Sukuna. He believed his life would end the moment he was hit by a truck, returning home after years of military missions in Africa. However, death was not his end. Between the darkness and a strange voice that offered him a wheel of fate, Ryan awoke in a new body, perfect body, inside the universe of the Vampire Diaries. Now called only Ryan, he discovers that he has a carefully inserted past in Mystic Falls. But it wasn't just that. He also carried with him all the powers, abilities, and experience of the King of Curses. Divided between the nostalgia of old memories and the predatory instinct inherited from Sukuna, Ryan will have to decide whether he will live as the childhood friend everyone remembers, or as the predator the town will never forget. Mystic Falls has always been a place of vampires, witches, and werewolves. But this time, something much worse has just been born. Now tell me, how can anyone resist this mix of nostalgia, mystery, and absolute power? The best part is that the first chapter of the story is already available to all Patreon members, even if you join for free. This means you can dive headfirst into this new adventure without having to spend anything to start. Just join the community and enjoy. But, of course, those who choose to support with any monthly amount will not only have access to advanced chapters of all the stories you already follow, but also to future exclusives I am preparing. I have many ideas saved, projects I really want to bring to life, and with your support this becomes more and more possible. And here comes a very important and personal detail. Besides helping me maintain this writing pace and always bring new content, your support on Patreon is also helping me achieve an essential goal in my life, paying for my hearing aid. I am getting closer and closer to gathering the amount, and I can sincerely say that every contribution, no matter how small it may seem, makes a huge difference. This device is not just a matter of comfort. It is quality of life, being able to hear better, being able to be even more present in conversations, in stories, and in everyday life. It is something that will impact not only my writing, but my entire life. That's why, when you support, you're not just helping to keep the stories alive, You're also supporting a very real and important part of my personal journey. And I can only thank, from the bottom of my heart, everyone who has already reached out and everyone who is thinking of doing so. So, to sum up what you will find on Patreon: advanced chapters of the stories you already love. Exclusive stories, such as the Vampire Diaries, Sukuna, the opportunity to closely follow the creative process, support directly, and be part of this journey. And, of course, the chance to help me reach my goal of paying for the hearing aid. Even if you join for free, you will already have access to the first chapter of the new story and can enjoy special content. If you decide to support with any amount, you will not only be securing incredible advantages as a reader, but also helping much more than you can imagine. Literature, fanfics, and the stories we love so much only exist because of this exchange. I write, you read, comment, support, and cheer along. And it is precisely this connection that inspires me to keep creating and bringing more and more ideas to life. So, here's the invitation. Come be part of this community on Patreon. Read the first chapter of the Vampire Diaries, Sukuna. Discover what Ryan will face in Mystic Falls with Sukuna's power in his hands, and take the chance to access everything that's coming. The journey is only beginning, and I would love to have you walking alongside me on this road. Sparkling Heart. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanfic novels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for all the support, the readings, the comments, and the affection. You are amazing and the reason why I keep writing every day. Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals. Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire 27. Chapter 27. New Emperor. Just as Renzu had guessed, something big was indeed happening today in the Demon Imperial City. Because today was the day that Duke Huai would ascend the throne of Emperor. It all began 3 months ago, when the patriarch of the Yun family hosted an event where he revealed that he had recovered his cultivation alongside his wife, causing a tremendous shock to those who knew his previously incurable condition. And it was on that day that everyone also received terrible news. Their empress had died. According to official information, the little demon empress died within the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. All the inhabitants waited bitterly for a month. But there were still no further news of the little demon empress, and this extinguished the last embers of hope in the hearts of those who were simply unwilling to believe. For a time, the entire imperial city was greatly shaken, and everyone fell into mourning. Although they had yet to see the body of the little demon empress, for the demon emperor, the last monarch of the illusory demon realm, the funeral procession had to continue. The little demon empress's funeral lasted for an entire month. But after that, a question lingered in the air. After the little demon empress, who would take the reins and become the emperor of the illusory demon realm? After all, if there were no emperor, the land would definitely descend into chaos shortly. But following the death of the little demon empress, there was no one from the demon emperor's lineage left in the world. There was only the illusory demon royal family, whose lineage was the closest to that of the demon emperor. Among the illusory demon royal family, the one who held the greatest prestige, power, and qualifications was undoubtedly Duke Huai of the Duke Huai Palace. Furthermore, in the months following the death of the little demon empress, the Duke Huai Palace took charge of both small and major events within the demon imperial city. Even the entire proceedings of the little demon empress's funeral were arranged by the Duke Huai Palace. In 4 months, the influence of the Duke Huai Palace spread at a voracious pace, as they sank their claws into the entire demon imperial city at an alarming rate. Almost all territories had been brought under the complete control of the Duke Huai Palace. Many years ago, the inhabitants of the demon imperial city were deeply aware that the power of the Duke Huai Palace truly surpassed that of the little demon empress. But it was only when the Duke Huai Palace truly bared its fangs that people realized just how strong the Duke Huai Palace had already become. Following the news of the little demon empress's death, those factions that were originally hesitant now fought tooth and nail to pledge allegiance to the Duke Huai Palace, as only the fear of being a step too late dominated their thoughts. Some of the factions that were originally loyal to the Demon Emperor clan chose to defect, heading toward the Duke Huai Palace to protect themselves. And those who had joined the Duke Huai Palace earlier were now filled with pride and jubilation. The factions that remained loyal to the extinct Demon Emperor lineage sank into lamentable minorities, and more influences continued to distance themselves, isolate them, or even view them as enemies. 2 months ago, the words "the illusory demon realm cannot be left without a leader for a day" had been resounding through the demon imperial city. These words spread with blazing speed throughout the entire illusory demon realm, while Duke Huai's loyalty and reputation were praised throughout the land. And these phrases shone so resplendently that they flooded the entire realm. Over 90% of the influences within the demon imperial city announced their support one after another for Duke Huai to be named the next emperor, and for a time, all praises for Duke Huai spread through the four corners of the illusory demon realm. The accolades were so extravagant that he was not only named the most celebrated sage within the realm but also the only choice for the title of the new sovereign of the illusory demon realm. Moreover, he was praised as a great sovereign who could usher in a period of prosperity that would surpass that of the demon emperor, while at the same time, he was still the person with the closest blood relation to the demon emperor's lineage. Now that it had reached this point, if anyone still contested Duke Huai being made emperor, that person would practically be begging for universal condemnation. Currently, the Demon Imperial Hall was at its maximum capacity, and the splendor of the occasion even overshadowed that of the Little Demon Empress's grand ceremony in the past. All the various mayors, regional lords, sect masters, and various other heroes of the realm could never have imagined in their wildest dreams that after merely coming to participate in the Little Demon Empress's grand ceremony, they would stay here for another 4 months and witness these significant events, from the passing of the Little Demon Empress to the ascension of the new emperor. All the heroes of the realm were squeezed together in the Demon Imperial Hall, and each of them was a pillar of the realm, well qualified to represent the entire illusory demon realm. Right now, the time had come for the coronation of the new emperor, for Duke Huai's ascension to the emperor's seat, and there were only less than 15 minutes remaining before this event would begin. The coronation ceremony was about to take place. The guardian families and the various duke palaces occupied the core seats within the Demon Imperial Hall, and the seating arrangements were exactly the same as 4 months ago. The Yun family and the Mu family were also shockingly present. Yun Qinghong was seated in the designated seat for the head of the Yun family, and his face was fixed with an abnormal calm. Mu Yuro sat beside him, and both held each other's hands tightly, not loosening their grip. In contrast to the enduring and incessant noise within the Demon Imperial Hall, the place where the Yun family and the neighboring Mu family were seated was filled with a lifeless and heavy atmosphere. For an entire hour no one spoke. The Duke Huai Palace has arrived. Following the sharp and prolonged proclamation, the Demon Imperial Hall instantly descended into silence, as all eyes turned toward the doors of the Great Hall. The great scarlet golden doors were pushed open. Duke Huai, dressed in golden adornments, while the members of the Duke Huai Palace orbited him like stars orbiting the sun, stepped slowly into the Demon Imperial Hall. His expression was calm, and he wore a gentle smile, while his clearly softened eyebrows seemed to be filled with an amorphous dignity. He was already astonishingly exuding an emperor's majesty from every pore of his body. Without the little demon empress around, he had impressively assumed the role of emperor of the illusory demon realm. "We respectfully receive Emperor Huai." A piercingly loud shout rang out from the location of the core seats, as the patriarch of the Hellion family, Hellion Kuang, stepped out of his seat and knelt on the ground. He prostrated himself completely on the floor, and his posture was attentive and humble to the extreme. Even when the previous demon emperor and the little demon empress were in power, he had never prostrated himself completely in this manner before. This loud shout awakened the audience from their slumber, and in the next instant, they were scrambling to leave their seats and kneel on the ground, to receive and offer their respects to Duke Huai. "We respectfully receive Emperor Huai." Nearly 100,000 of the illusory demon realm's top-class powerhouses shouted those words in unison, and the sound was so loud that it made the entire Demon Imperial Hall tremble for a long time. Duke Huai passed his gaze unhurriedly across the great hall and committed to memory those people and forces that did not kneel to receive him. After that, he slowly raised his head and said in a polite and modest manner, "Everyone, please rise. Although this duke has received your undeserved kindness and has been elected to be the new sovereign of the illusory demon realm, the coronation ceremony has not yet been held, so I am still unworthy of the title Emperor Huai. And this manner of reverence is something I also cannot accept. Allow this humble duke to be so bold as to say this. Emperor Huai, your words are mistaken," Duke Zhong said flamboyantly, as he clasped his fists. "Emperor Huai, your assumption of the emperor's seat is something approved by all those present and desired by all under the heavens. So how can you label it as undeserved kindness? After the passing of the little demon empress, Emperor Huai united the realm, pacified the chaos within the realm, and ensured that peace reigned in the hearts of all its citizens. If not for Emperor Huai's sagacious wisdom and lofty virtues, the Demon Imperial City and the entire illusory demon realm would still be in chaos. So in our hearts, although the coronation ceremony has yet to begin, you have long become the emperor we will follow and swear our loyalty to until the end of our days. Today's coronation, forgive this humble duke for speaking nonsense. It is merely a formality to announce your exaltation to the rest of the world." That's right. Duke Zhong's words are simply spot on. What Duke Zhong just expressed were exactly the thoughts this humble duke harbors in his heart all the time. May Emperor Huai unify the illusory demon realm. May he reign while the heavens remain aloft. We swear our lives and loyalty to Emperor Huai. The coronation ceremony for the new emperor had yet to begin, and Duke Huai had merely made his appearance. Yet oaths of loyalty flooded the entire demon imperial hall, as everyone strove to outdo one another. This was undoubtedly a manifestation of just how astonishing the power and coercion demonstrated by Duke Huai after the passing of the little demon empress truly was. Not a single person suspected that there was anything in the illusory demon realm that could prevent Duke Huai from taking the throne. The wisest decision anyone could make was to declare loyalty to Duke Huai. Some might even argue that it was, in fact, the only option left. If not, it would be no different from digging one's own grave. Ha 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 ha. Duke Huai let his arm fall, and a broad smile was plastered on his face. He needed to say no more. So he boldly strode toward the emperor's seat at the end of the great hall. As he passed by the area where the Yun family was seated, he carelessly passed his eyes over Yun Qinghong, the corner of his mouth faintly curving upward. In these last 4 months, before he officially became emperor, it was naturally not good to extend his wicked hand toward the Yun family, as they were one of the guardian families. But from today onward, anyone could come to the conclusion that Duke Huai would deal with the Yun family first. When the time came, the best outcome for the Yun family would be that they would once again fall into a great decline, and the worst outcome was complete and total destruction. Yun Qinghong did not offer his respects to Duke Huai, nor did the entire Yun family. He coldly observed the unfolding of events in the great hall. His expression and gaze were so cold and distant that not a single fluctuation could be seen. From the moment Duke Huai entered to the moment he took the emperor's seat, the only action he took was to tighten his grip on Mu Yuro's hand. Mu Yuro's hand also tightened around his, the hearts and minds of this couple having long been intertwined. Now it was impossible to stop Duke Huai from ascending the throne. Even if they wagered the lives of all the Yun family members in a desperate gamble, they still would not be able to prevent it. But the one who killed the little demon empress and who was possibly the murderer of their son, according to rumors, stood before their eyes, so how could they let him do as he pleased? When the news of the little demon empress's death was made public, another shocking revelation swept like wildfire. Yun Renzu, the son of the Yun family patriarch, had died. But unlike the empress, whose funeral was prolonged for an entire month with all the honorable rites a sovereign should receive, his death was treated in a strangely convenient manner. They were merely words, as it had been with the little demon empress. And these words did not come from just anywhere. It was Duke Huai himself who, behind the scenes and through carefully chosen emissaries, let it slip that he had been present at the fateful moment. That when the little demon empress fell within the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley, Renzu had rushed in desperation after her, being consumed by the scarlet golden flames. The official version, repeated in every corner, was as follows. Renzu, driven by desperate loyalty, had chosen to perish with her, burning to ashes so their spirits would never be separated. It was a tragic and beautiful plot, worthy of a legend, but it sounded overly melodramatic to some. Still, how could anyone doubt it? The words came directly from Duke Huai's circle of trust, who at that moment was already manipulating the people's grief like a master playing his zither. And since there was no body to contest, nor concrete evidence to refute, the rumor took root as if it were absolute truth. Those who loved him, like Yun Qinghong and Mu Yuro, were forced to swallow their silence. They, more than anyone, knew something was wrong, that their son's disappearance carried the putrid stench of Duke Huai's hand. But without proof, any word would be accused of hysteria, or worse, of treason against the savior of the realm that Duke Huai portrayed himself to be. The couple did not attend today for the Demon Emperor clan, nor was it for the dignity and determination of the Yun family. It was as parents, for they prepared to use their very lives to reclaim what had been lost before, to allow the son who filled them with love, pride, gratitude, joy, and sorrow, to recover the blood debt that was owed. Although Renzu was not their blood son, they had raised him as such, and their beloved son had strived to learn medicine and heal them. He had worked so hard for them. How could they not repay that? What kind of vermin would they be if they did not repay it with their lives? And the next chapters will explain how Duke Huai discovered Renzu's identity. Let me cook. Sparkles extra chapter goals sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 power stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 28. Chapter 28. This Duke is kind. Bonus chapter. Those who accompanied Duke Huai to the Grand Hall were all members of the Duke Huai Palace, and although there were only 100 of them, counting just the monarchs alone, there were already 20. This extravagant display of power made even the mighty guardian families tremble with fear. In years past, the power demonstrated by the Duke Huai Palace was enough to shock anyone. But it was only in recent months that everyone realized the power they had shown before was merely the tip of the iceberg. Moreover, in these recent months, even more influences and powerful individuals had joined the Duke Huai Palace, so no one could truly fathom how great their power was on this day. Following Duke Huai's ascension to Emperor Huai, the Duke Huai Palace naturally became the Emperor's Palace, and the aura of every member of the Duke Huai Palace underwent a massive change. Hui Ran and Hui Yi, considered the most talented youths of the illusory demon realm, also followed along. Their gazes were as arrogant as those of lone eagles who considered themselves above all others, because their current status was a world apart from what it had been before. From this day forward, they would be royal princes of the illusory demon realm. The entire illusory demon realm would come under the subordination of their clan. Duke Huai stood before the emperor's throne, and under the gazes of the assembled guardian families, duke palaces and heroes of the realm, he slowly sat down. Although he had foreseen 100 years ago that this day would eventually come, at this moment, as he finally ascended to the emperor's seat, he received the attention of all those gathered and witnessed the heroes of the realm groveling at his feet. He could decide the life and death of everyone present here, and beyond this grand hall, the fate of the entire illusory demon realm was firmly within his grasp. So he couldn't help but breathe a little heavily as blood coursed through his entire body. The era of the Demon Emperor's clan has come to an end. From this day forward, this illusory demon realm shall be ruled by my Duke Huai clan. Beside him, four luxuriously dressed royal maids carried a set of golden robes and a golden crown, approaching unhurriedly and taking their places at his sides. The supreme master of ceremonies of the royal family walked slowly, his head held high, as he announced in a loud voice, "The first demon emperor united all under the heavens and led the illusory demon realm to 10,000 years of peace and prosperity. However, a calamity descended from the heavens. The former demon emperor passed away, and the little demon emperor and little demon empress also met with calamity. Thus, the demon emperor's line shall henceforth be consigned to the 5 elements, leaving no testament, with no successor to take up the mantle, causing great sorrow throughout the realm. If the heroes of the realm remain without a leader, chaos is certain to follow. But fortunately, Duke Huai has a heart for the people, demonstrating talent as high as the heavens and as vast as the earth, possessing the ability to push mountains and surpass oceans, pacifying chaos, calming the hearts of the people, making the panic that covered the heavens vanish into thin air, convincing the people, and turning all hearts toward him. He has the disposition of a ruler and is unmatched under the heavens. For him to be the new sovereign, the 4 seas bow in agreement. All the dukes have worked together with a singularity of purpose and unity, supporting the new sovereign together thanks to the support and protection of all the clans. He has received the mandate of the heavens. All the officials have put their heart and soul into supporting the new ruler, upholding the illusory demon realm. Boom! The timely and drawn-out beat of a drum sounded from outside the hall. The master of ceremonies abruptly ceased his speech, and as he stepped to one side, his voice rose several octaves. The hour has arrived for the coronation of our new sovereign. The hour had come for the coronation, which would be followed by a ceremony to honor the gods and the heavens. After this process, Duke Huai would officially become the new ruler of the illusory demon realm. Duke Huai rose in a stately manner and spread both arms, receiving the sights and sounds. The maids beside him removed the embroidered robes signifying his status as a duke, draping his shoulders with the pure golden royal robes embroidered with images of the sacred and divine golden crow, robes that symbolized the illusory demon emperor. The time had come for the coronation, which would then be followed by a ceremony to honor the gods and the heavens. After this process, Duke Huai would officially become the new ruler of the illusory demon realm. All the people gathered in the Demon Imperial Hall left their seats and knelt. "We greet Emperor Huai. May Emperor Huai live as long as the heavens and the earth, shining as brightly as the sun and the moon." Those privileged to be present in the Demon Imperial Hall were, without a doubt, members of the highest echelons of society in the illusory demon realm. Seeing them bow their heads and swear their loyalty was akin to having the entire illusory demon realm at his feet. Duke Huai, who had awaited this day for 100 years, faintly raised his head, intoxicated by the moment, reveling in his current status as emperor. As his gaze swept calmly, he saw the only place that was discordant with the rest of the grand hall. In the entire Demon Imperial Hall, only 2 groups of people did not kneel. One was the Yun family and the other was the Mu family. "How dare you, Mu Fian and Yun Qinghong?" The furious rebuke of the master of ceremonies rang out this time toward both patriarchs of the families. "The new emperor is about to be crowned. What are you waiting for? Kneel." Although this master of ceremonies also belonged to the illusory demon royal family, under normal circumstances, even if given 100 times more courage, he still wouldn't dare raise his voice against Yun Qinghong or Mu Fian. But today, the circumstances were entirely different from before. The Yun family and Mu family had always been in complicated situations with the Du Kuai Palace, and in the months following the burial of the Little Demon Empress, the Yun family and Mu family had slandered Du Kuai by claiming he had killed the Little Demon Empress. And today, even a fool would understand that after Du Kuai's ascension, he would definitely no longer tolerate the two families. Moreover, given Du Kuai's current power, how could the Yun family and Mu family hope to be his enemies? So this master of ceremonies shouted with 100% confidence. In fact, he was extremely afraid that he had shouted too softly and failed to satisfy Du Kuai with his weak aura. The atmosphere froze rapidly as all eyes immediately turned to the seats of the Yun family and Mu family. The Under Heaven family, Su family, and Yen family grew anxious, secretly gasping in their hearts. Why should I kneel? Yun Qinghong leaped from his seat, his voice like a thunderclap exploding in everyone's ears, causing great fear. And how could an inferior master of ceremonies withstand Yun Qinghong's aura as it erupted from him? His entire body trembled, and he involuntarily took a step back. His lips quivered uncontrollably, but not a single word came from his mouth. Yun Qinghong! Helian Kuang roared loudly, pointing at Yun Qinghong, his expression filled with fury, while his pupils brimmed with mockery and cold laughter. The new emperor is about to be crowned, yet you perform such actions that clearly despise our new emperor. Does this mean you intend to rebel? Rebel? Yun Qinghong gave a laugh. To think that you still have the face to say such things in this demon imperial hall, before all the heroes of the realm. Rebel? Just who is truly rebelling? Of course, it's you who's rebelling. Jifang Kue roared as he stood and pointed accusingly at Yun Qinghong. After the burial of the Little Demon Empress and Du Kuai's ascension, the world would belong to Emperor Huai from now on. So now was naturally the time to kick a man when he was down while simultaneously expressing loyalty to Emperor Huai. Yun Qinghong, as the patriarch of the Yun family of the Guardian families, your sacred duty is to protect the illusory demon emperor. But on the day the new emperor is about to ascend the throne, in this grand hall, you actually... Shut up! Before Jifang Kue could finish speaking, he was furiously interrupted by Yun Qinghong. I, Yun Qinghong, am not someone a shameless traitor like you can reprimand. My Yun family followed the first demon emperor from the beginning and unified the illusory demon realm alongside him. If the first demon emperor didn't exist, there would be no Yun family that prospered for 10,000 years. My Yun family, from start to finish, treated protecting the demon emperor's clan as our duty, and we also treated it as our glory. And during these 10,000 years, we never showed the slightest moment of disloyalty. Humph! What does this Du Kuai amount to? What qualifications does he have to demand the loyal protection of my Yun family? You are all fellow guardian families, yet you've elevated this bandit who murdered the Little Demon Empress to the highest seat of power. You've simply made all your blessed ancestors and forebears in the afterlife utterly ashamed. Yun Qinghong, how dare you? Duke Zhong leaped from his seat, his face twisted in grief and indignation, his entire body trembling. After the Little Demon Empress met with calamity, you continuously slandered our new emperor by claiming he murdered the Little Demon Empress. But the Little Demon Empress clearly met misfortune in the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley. All her most loyal maids said she went there as she always did to check on the place and was caught in a spatial turbulence that appeared and was thrown into the Golden Crow's lands. The new emperor was clearly in the Demon Imperial City. That was a fact witnessed by countless people. Your slander contradicts itself and is laughable to the extreme. The new emperor has been extremely magnanimous. He chose not to engage in a dispute with you, and even wanted to cover up how the shameless slander of your Yun family took root in the Demon Imperial City. Yet you, Yun Qinghong, fail to recognize this great kindness shown to you and remain stubborn and obstinate, not knowing what's good for you. And during this sacred and solemn divine imperial ascension ceremony, not only did you hurl abuses at the new emperor, you actually dared to spit such laughable and unbelievable accusations in front of all those present. This is not only the great crime of rebelling against the sovereign, but it's also clear that you're despising the rest of us. As Duke Zhong continued speaking, he became so furious that his face turned deathly pale. He clasped his fists toward Du Kuai and said, Emperor Huai, you have been extremely lenient toward the Yun family, but without reciprocation, as there are still those who would take advantage of your kindness. As your subordinate, this humble duke cannot bear to witness this any longer. Emperor Huai, please give the orders so we may apprehend this conspirator. Instead, Duke Huai slowly raised his hand and shook his head. He gave a short sigh and displayed a rather helpless look on his face. Patriarch Yun, you have many prejudices and misunderstandings against this emperor, and this emperor is well aware of it. You also slandered this emperor with the crime of murdering the Little Demon Empress, and that is the greatest joke in the world by itself. I don't mind. But today is the day of this emperor's ascension, and normally, I should be granting a general amnesty for all under heaven, not being so easily angered. I of course did not want to argue with you. But after this emperor finishes honoring the heavens and the gods and is officially declared emperor, if you dare say such offensive things again, even if you are the patriarch of the Yun family, covered in achievements and glories and the son of Demon King Yun Songhai, this emperor will definitely not let you off lightly. Yun Qinghong refused to kneel, hurled insults at the new emperor, and even slandered him as the person who murdered the little demon empress. Each offense was enough to have a person executed. Yet Du Kuai dealt with it with extreme magnanimity and generosity. This, of course, was not because he was truly magnanimous, nor was it because he didn't want to kill Yun Qinghong and the entire Yun family. But the Yun family had just restored their reputation 3 months ago, due to the patriarch recovering from his injuries, and they had also won the hearts of the people at that event. Not only that, but the Yun family's reputation was now flourishing in the illusory demon realm. He had just ascended to the throne, so before he had fully stabilized his power, it would be extremely unwise to take any overt actions against the Yun family, even if the Yun family took the initiative to be offensive. Moreover, his current actions would prominently showcase his magnanimous conduct while also exposing the Yun family as shameless and disloyal rebels. But how could Yun Qinghong fall for it? He gave a long laugh and suddenly leaped into the air, landing in the middle of the grand hall. A purple light flickered in his hand, and a 7-foot-long sword appeared in his grip as he pointed it directly at Du Kuai. We don't need to wait until that day. The purpose for which I, Yun Qinghong, came here today is to baptize this demon imperial hall in blood. Yun Qinghong's actions drained the color from everyone's faces, as the entire demon imperial hall immediately descended into a state of panic. With Du Kuai among them, no one even dreamed that the ever-calm, supremely wise, and insightful Yun Qinghong would actually do such a thing. Helian Kuang and his lackeys roared in unison. Yun Qinghong, what are you planning to do? Patriarch Yun, don't be impulsive. Su Xiangnan and Yan Zijing shouted in agitation. Su Xiangnan quickly sent a profound energy sound transmission to Yun Qinghong, advising him persistently, Patriarch Yun, sheathe your sword. Even if the little demon empress and your son were truly harmed by Du Kuai, you must preserve your life to witness the day of your revenge. This kind of reckless action is not something you, Yun Qinghong, should do. Yun Qinghong ignored Su Xiangnan's sound transmission and showed no reaction. Beside him, Mu Yuro had already risen to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, as a chilling aura surged around her entire body. The coldness in her gaze was even more piercing and chilling, her voice filled with the deepest and most resentful hatred she had ever experienced in her life. Du Kuai, it was you who murdered my son. Even if my husband and I lose our lives today, we will still take your blood in retribution. /N Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 29. Chapter 29, Return of the Little Demon Empress. Patriarch Yun, lower the sword in your hand. You must not be rash. The demon from the heavenly demon region, Lord Qinzhang, hurried forward and shouted at the same time. Anyone could tell that from the words Yun Qinghong had just spoken. Not only did he harbor anger and resentment, but he clearly also harbored a decisive will to die. Today, they wanted to give their lives and blood to stain the Imperial Demon Hall. Rash. Yun Qinghong pointed his sword toward Du Kuai. His face was cold and composed. I, Yun Qinghong, have never been so calm in my entire life. My Yun clan began 10,000 years ago and we have existed to protect the Demon Emperor. However, in a short 100 years, the previous Demon Emperor and the Little Demon Emperor, one after the other, were harmed by a traitorous bastard, and today even the Little Demon Empress has fallen into malicious schemes. We are one of the guardian families, and yet, we were unable to fulfill our protective duty, allowing the Demon Emperor's bloodline to completely end. Not only that, but today, I have to watch with my own 2 eyes as the traitorous dog who harmed the Demon Empress and my own son ascends to become emperor. As the patriarch of the Yun family, I, Yun Qinghong, what face do I have left to continue lingering in this life? Du Kuai, if you wish to become emperor today, you must pass through my, Yun Qinghong's, blood and corpse. Patriarch Yun. Inside the hall, a voice sounded. No one would have expected such a scene to actually occur in the succession hall. Yun Qinghong, you are courting your own death. Chiang Bailey roared. The patriarchs of the great families had already left their seats and formed a circle surrounding the couple Yun Qinghong. With dozens of strong and oppressive auras, they silently guarded the surroundings of Du Kuai. Patriarch! Everyone in the Yun family cried out in fear. Even they were unaware of the actions Yun Qinghong planned to take today. Do not approach! Yun Qinghong suddenly raised his hand, preventing them from coming closer. This is a matter for me and my wife. It has nothing to do with the Yun family. Yun Waitian. From this point onward, you will be the new patriarch of the Yun family. My wife and I will leave the Yun family. Everything we do has nothing to do with the Yun family. My only wish is that from this day forward, the Yun family will stay far away from the demon imperial city, will completely withdraw from the current obligations, and will never pledge loyalty to these traitorous dogs. No! Yun Waitian shook his head instead, then flew forward and shouted in rage. You are the patriarch of our Yun family. Your will is thus the will of the entire Yun family. Even if the entire world says that the patriarch has falsely accused Du Kuai, the disciples of our Yun family will not doubt a single word the patriarch says. If the patriarch says it was Du Kuai's palace that caused the death of the little demon empress, then that is definitely not wrong. For this kind of traitorous thief, not to mention our status as a guardian family, even as ordinary citizens of the illusory demon realm, we will use our lives to bring justice to this criminal. Yun Waitian landed beside Yun Qinghong and glared at Du Kuai with rage. Today, one of us must die. That's right. The patriarch's life is the most irrefutable proof in this world. If the patriarch wants blood to be spilled in the demon imperial hall, how can we, the disciples of the Yun family, be left out? Du Kuai, you caused the death of the young patriarch of the Yun family and the little demon empress. My Yun family and you cannot exist under the same sky. Today, my Yun family will use fresh blood and your dog's life as a sacrifice for the young patriarch and the little demon empress. After the initial shock and confusion, the disciples of the Yun family, along with the few elders, all stood up behind Yun Qinghong without hesitation. Their blood boiled, and they were prepared to die. There were barely 100 people from the Yun family present, but their hatred had been ignited. Standing behind Yun Qinghong, no one retreated or left. Ha 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 ha. Mu Fian laughed loudly. This truly is the Yun family. Even if suppressed for 100 years, the spirit in their bones has not been extinguished. Good. Good. Then today, let us have a great spilling of blood. Sons and daughters of the Mu family, listen carefully. Mu Fian turned, his roar like thunder shaking the entire hall, making it tremble slightly. The Du Kuai before your eyes, who is about to ascend to the throne and become our next illusory demon emperor, has actually caused the death of the little demon empress and massacred the demon emperor's clan. This kind of traitorous bastard should be hated by both people and heavens, punished by the heavens and destroyed by the earth, but today, he is receiving admiration in the demon imperial hall. This is simply absurd. Mu Fian, the patriarch of the Shao family, Shao Shifeng, shouted indignantly. Among the 12 families, you are known as the person of highest integrity. Who would have imagined that you too would slander the new emperor, since you say it was the new emperor who caused the death of the little demon empress? What evidence do you have? Your father's words are the evidence. Mu Fian's voice was as loud as thunder. You have not deserved the name of a guardian family for a long time, and now you have also become traitorous dogs. A bunch of dogs who have lost their dignity and honor. What right do you have to yap in front of this father here? You! Mu Fian's rebukes made the lungs of the patriarchs surrounding Yun Qinghong want to explode. Mu Fian waved his arm, then flew forward and shouted. Sons and daughters of the Mu family, we will fulfill our duty as one of the guardian families. The time to show our loyalty to the demon emperor's clan has arrived. Follow me with the will to kill these traitorous bastards. Let us spill their blood in this hall that represents the glory of the demon emperor's clan. Those who are afraid to die, get out to the back. The farther you run, the better. Ha 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 ha. The 3 Mu brothers, Mu Yubai, Mu Yuqing, and Mu Yukong laughed together, their faces without a trace of fear for their lives. Old man, today, let us kill merrily as a family. Du Kuai, what makes you think you have the qualifications to become emperor in the demon imperial hall? What qualifications do you have to wear the emperor's robes? And you lot, bunch of traitorous dogs, have lost your right to live. Your sins and ugly faces, the heavens and the golden crow have seen them all clearly. The blood we spill today is just the beginning. You will soon receive the punishments of heaven and earth. You will not die properly. After shaking the entire demon imperial hall with their roars, Mu Yubai flew forward and then unleashed his oppressive monarch pressure without holding back. He roared loudly and swung his arm, and a white rope 10 feet long smashed horizontally across those surrounding the Yun Qinghong couple. Mu Yubai made the first move, moreover, with all his strength and without any restraint. It was evident that the Yun and Mu families were the same. Both were prepared and determined that this would be a fight to the death. Facing the preparations of the Yun and Mu families to die, Du Kuai felt not the slightest bit that this was all according to plan. His easy expression twisted rapidly. His anger was absolutely genuine, and he was very clear that this kind of mad action by Yun Qinghong and Mu Fian was not a counterattack because they had lost all reason, but was the result he feared the most, because he absolutely could not touch the Yun and Mu families. Otherwise, in the past few months, he would have already made his move. Especially against the Yun family. In the past few months, he had discovered the identity of that boy who was with the little demon empress. Honestly, it wasn't hard to guess based on the information he sought to get revenge after the beating he took from that boy, and upon discovering who he was, he naturally wanted to use that opportunity to try to make the Yun family more docile. He had spread rumors about how the little demon empress had died and made Yun Qinghong's son the hero who tried to save her from perdition. His real father thought that perhaps this way the Yun family would become a bit more docile. But it backfired. In the current situation, the Yun family had decided to make this a life-or-death scenario. Although the Yun family had no concrete evidence to link him to the death of the little demon empress and he had evidence of not being at the scene, the Yun family would still spill blood in the Demon Imperial Hall over this matter. The Yun family had been a great guardian family for 10,000 years. If they weren't so certain that the little demon empress was harmed by Du Kuai, how could such a situation occur? If not for their devotion to the demon emperor's clan, how could this have happened? Based on the power of Du Kuai's palace, even if the Yun and Mu families used all their strength, they still couldn't kill Du Kuai. Instead, they would be destroyed by Du Kuai's power. However, this was the first day of his ascension. One could imagine the rumors if he exterminated the two most loyal guardian families. And the matter of the malicious scheme behind the little demon empress's death would be deeply embedded in the souls of the illusory demon realm citizens following the extermination of the Yun and Mu families. The Yun and Mu families couldn't provide concrete evidence, and yet, using such methods, they could make everyone question Du Kuai's intentions in their hearts, ensuring he would never have a moment of peace as emperor. When the little demon empress was present, they could endure patiently. However, after the little demon empress's funeral, the Yun and Mu families were filled with grief and had no way out. They also had nothing to stop them. It wasn't that they hadn't anticipated the outcome, but this would be their final glorious move as guardian families, and also as parents. The self-blame for once again failing to properly protect their son. Yun Qinghong, you have greatly disappointed this emperor. Du Kuai's entire body trembled. However, now that things had reached this stage, he had no other options. Kill them. This bunch of traitorous bastards. Kill without discrimination. Boom! Following Mu Yubai's attack, an extremely tyrannical ball of profound energy exploded in the middle of the Demon Imperial Hall. It was at the monarch level and was from the highest level of power present. Under this kind of force, those outside the Demon Imperial City were blown far away by the commotion. They were flung far off and their blood surged, nearly fainting. And this was simply the result of a monarch unleashing his profound energy. Explosive air currents surged out from the Demon Imperial Hall, and the sound of an oppressive explosion could be heard throughout the entire Demon Imperial City. Alarmed cries rang out from the Demon Imperial Hall. This level of power was something they couldn't withstand, let alone resist. There were extremely few battles between monarchs in the illusory demon realm. No one would have imagined that a battle at the level of a disaster would actually occur in the Demon Imperial Hall. Moreover, a fight to the death. No one would have suspected that a monarch-level deadly confrontation, even with how solid the walls of the Demon Imperial Hall were, would be destroyed so quickly. Even the massive Demon Imperial City couldn't withstand the terrifying power of dozens of monarchs. There were 7 guardian families on Du Kuai's side, along with several dozen duke palaces and large numbers of hidden exceptional experts. On the other side, there were only the Yun and Mu families. The difference in strength was incomparably vast. The experts from the 7 guardian families and duke palaces surrounded them from different positions, their profound energies rushing forward like a tsunami. However, the Yun and Mu families burned with hatred and the will to die. Even if weaker, the energy and aura released by each person would make those neutral in the battle tremble in fear. A deafening roar, like a wild beast roaring in rage, practically pressed down the heaven-shaking explosions. There were only 200 people from the Yun and Mu families, each fighting for their lives, and yet they forcibly caused the members of the 7 guardian families surrounding them to separate. You traitorous dogs! Go to hell and seek forgiveness from the Demon Emperor! From within the tumult, Mu Fian's entire figure turned into a blue shadow, flying like a blue bolt of lightning among the experts of the 7 guardian families. And in the span of a second, an extremely cold and oppressive wave of profound energy suddenly exploded. This was the wrath of a 7th-level monarch. His terrifying power was enough to destroy half of the demon imperial city. In the heaven-shaking noise, Jufang Kue, Shifeng, and Lin Guiyan were caught off guard and were flung away by the explosion. The corners of their mouths were stained with blood, and the bodies of several dozen disciples at the tyrant level and below were exploded into pieces on the spot. A massive gap was torn in the perimeter formed by the 7 guardian families, and looking at this gap, it pointed directly toward where Du Kuai was. Yun Qinghong's gaze turned cold, and his body suddenly shone with light. His entire figure was like a bolt of lightning shooting toward Du Kuai. And as if telepathic, Mu Yuro suddenly also became a bolt of lightning at the same time. The couple headed straight for Du Kuai. Du Kuai stood there without moving, his gaze gloomy. In front of him, 2 deathly pale figures suddenly appeared like demons, and following the trembling of the air, 2 waves of profound energy that were practically identical in their iciness exploded toward the Yun Qinghong couple. Bang! An incomparably oppressive explosion sounded. A ripple so powerful it nearly formed a substantial body pushed Yun Qinghong and Mu Yuro far away. Yun Qinghong reached out to support Mu Yuro's body, and looking at the 2 who had blocked them, he revealed a cold smile. Even you 2 have become Du Kuai's lackeys. The 2 people wore white, and their faces were pale and looked exactly the same. They were evidently twin brothers. To be able to obstruct the Yun Qinghong couple meant only that they were at least mid-level monarchs. How could they be unknowns in the illusory demon realm with that kind of power? Among this pair of twins, one was called by Gue Ming and the other was by Gue Hun. They were the unbeatable experts of the illusory demon realm's northern region. Being like gods in the northern region, there was almost no one in the demon imperial city who didn't know them. Respected masters, why call us lackeys? Bai Guiming said expressionlessly. Du Kuai is capable and strong, more suitable to be emperor than the little demon empress. Moreover, the little demon empress couldn't have successors, it was only a matter of time. Bai Guihun declared. If it were that simple, you 2 could be excused. But Du Kuai's palace caused the death of the little demon empress. Even the previous demon emperor may have fallen to their malicious schemes. If you continue to follow him, you are simply lackeys without honor and humanity. Yun Qinghong said with furrowed brows. Bai Guiming said calmly, Du Kuai may be ambitious, but he would never do such malicious things. Ha 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 ha. Yun Qinghong laughed loudly. There's nothing more to say. No matter who blocks this Yun today, I will spill their blood on the spot. Orange. Yun Qinghong drew his purple sword, and 2 fatal purple sword figures slashed through the space, attacking directly at Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun. Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun's expressions darkened as they unleashed their ice profound energy. Following the clash of the 3 profound energies, a screen of light dozens of meters long formed, and within the light, lightning profound energy and ice profound energy collided fiercely against each other. Yun Qinghong shouted loudly. His cyan profound handle flew from his left arm, forming into a purple sword of light, rushing toward the screen of light and infinitely attacking the ice profound energy of Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun. Yun Qinghong's profound energy was originally higher than that of Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun, so combined with the power of the profound handle, Yun Qinghong's strength alone was able to directly suppress his opponents, even forcing them to be momentarily frustrated. Mu Yuro's movements, who originally wanted to act, slowed. Seeing Du Kuai, who was no more than 100 meters away from her, her gaze suddenly froze. Du Kuai, return my son's life. Mu Yuro's figure turned, rushing directly toward Du Kuai. Her gaze contained deeply embedded hatred, and the ice profound energy contained a hatred that even Yun Qinghong was not completely familiar with. The ice arrow in her hand was like the fang of a venomous snake, aiming for Du Kuai's throat. Mu Yuro's actions alarmed Yun Qinghong, who shouted urgently, Don't go there! /N Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter. 30. Chapter 30 Return of the Little Demon Empress. 2. Facing Mu Yuro's attack, Du Kuai still did not move, while a cold darkness that would make people's hearts palpitate flickered in his eyes. In front of him, 2 black figures suddenly descended, and a furious profound energy storm bringing a sound that pierced the eardrums attacked Mu Yuro from both sides. The auras of the 2 people dressed in black were strong impressively. They were 2 other mid-stage monarchs, and simply based on the suppressive power, they were even slightly stronger than Yun Qinghong. Mu Yuro's profound strength was at the second level of the sovereign profound realm. Any one of these men dressed in black could easily defeat her. Moreover, the two combined their strengths. With four striking and shattering sounds, her ice chain was broken into countless pieces. Mu Yuro suddenly stopped moving. Then, with a groan, she heavily flew backward. The two men in black agilely pursued her. 6 streaks of scarlet profound energy, bringing along their infernal cold aura, shot toward Mu Yuro with the intent to injure her. The two men in black showed no mercy if the 6 scarlet beams of profound energy hit their target. Although Mu Yuro had the body of a monarch, if she didn't die, she would at least be gravely wounded. Yuro, Yun Qinghong, who was in the midst of a fierce battle with Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun, became alarmed. He forcefully broke free and for a moment was cruelly struck in the back by Bai Guihun. Yun Qinghong spat out a mouthful of blood, but still vigorously used all his strength to fly toward Mu Yuro, securely catching her in his chest. The 6 scarlet beams of profound energy struck Yun Qinghong directly in his back, producing 6 shocking bloody holes, with blood flying in all directions. Ha 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 ha! Du Kuai laughed imprudently, his voice dark. Yun Qinghong, you too will have such a day. If you had been a little smarter and helped this emperor rule the lands, this emperor would guarantee you and your Yun family an even higher position. But you just had to choose to be the enemy of this emperor. You are simply digging your own grave. Since you want to die so badly, this emperor will ensure you. Du Kuai's voice suddenly stopped at that point, even his malicious laughter completely frozen on his face. Because what he saw was that the purple profound energy in Yun Qinghong was actually transforming rapidly and becoming blood red. The Yun family's purple cloud profound art was the strongest lightning profound art, and the color of the lightning profound energy was purple. The stronger the purple color, the stronger it would be. But no matter what, the color of the lightning profound energy would never be blood red. The abnormal profound energy in Yun Qinghong made Du Kuai startled for a moment. After that, what he revealed was actually fear. He was afraid, as if he had suddenly seen a god of death coming from hell. This was because he instinctively thought of the incomparably terrifying taboo domain of the Yun family, which would even change the expression of Duke Ming, his father, when speaking about it. The two men in black who were originally attacking, along with Bai Guiming and Bai Guihun who were pursuing from behind, all stopped in their tracks. The pupils of all 4 people contracted. They even involuntarily retreated. In the thousands of years of the Yun family, they had always been the leaders of the 12 guardian families, their status second only to that of the demon emperor in the illusory demon realm. How could the experts of the illusory demon realm not know about the myths of the Yun family's purple cloud art? Yun Qinghong, you? Yun Qinghong turned slowly, the wound on his back gushing blood, but the expression on his face was sinisterly calm, while the red profound energy in his body was becoming deeper and deeper. He then raged in a frenzied manner. Du Kuai! Ever since I resumed the domain of my family thanks to my son and learned of his death, I have been in seclusion, all for this very moment. Du Kuai retreated and said with a despondent appearance, could it be that for the past few months, you have been comprehending the legendary taboo domain? SSSSS. The profound energy around Yun Qinghong's body began to hiss. Streaks of red lightning danced wildly around his body. He tossed the purple sword in his hand, then slowly extended his palm. Although I am disobeying father's orders, I will still make you die without a proper burial. Following the boiling of the scarlet lightning in Yun Qinghong's body, the entire demon imperial hall, no, the aura of the entire demon imperial city changed rapidly. It was obviously above the hall, yet everyone felt as if there was a mass of dark clouds pressed horizontally against the blue skies that could collapse at any moment. Everyone turned their attention to Yun Qinghong's body. All of the Yun family stared at the scarlet lightning. The expression of none of them failed to change. All of them roared in despair. Patriarch! Patriarch! Mu Fian erupted with profound energy. Pushing away the experts surrounding him, he looked at Yun Qinghong and revealed his alarm. This is Hell Prison Lightning Emperor Formation. Mu Yubai cried out in alarm. He actually was able to use the Yun family's taboo domain. Mu Yuqing's voice was also full of shock. Hell Prison Lightning Emperor Formation, the Yun family's taboo domain, requires all the vital energy of the body to activate. Moreover, it harms the user before harming others. The moment it is activated, it will destroy the heavens and exterminate the earth. But the user will undoubtedly die. Mu Yukong's pupils contracted. Little sister said before, when the Demon King was alive, he sternly ordered brother-in-law to never comprehend the Hell Prison Lightning Emperor Formation in his entire life. Brother-in-law is loyal and obedient and would never defy the Demon King's will. He must have forcibly comprehended it in the past 4 months, just to take down Duke Huai with him. Quick, retreat! Mu Fian waved both arms, releasing a wave of tyrannical profound energy, pushing the Mu family people far away. He did not try to stop Yun Qinghong, he already knew there was no one who could stop him. Yun Qinghong, do you think that just based on your Yun family's taboo domain, you are capable of killing this emperor? This emperor has countless experts behind him, and even possesses the mandate of heaven and the protection of the skies. Just with you, how could you kill this emperor? Du Kuai's words were arrogant and full of disdain, but he continuously retreated, because the myths regarding the Yun family's taboo domain were simply too terrifying to the point that even though he had more than 10 powerful monarchs defending him, he was still afraid. Newly crowned emperor, retreat quickly. Behind him, dozens of sovereign profound realm-level experts released their profound energy, conjuring an extremely strong protective barrier. The lightning in Yun Qinghong's body became as intense as the blood of purgatory, his entire body was enveloped within it. His 4 limbs and face could no longer be seen. Mu Yuro quietly leaned against his body, her eyes hazy like mist. Being bathed in the blood-red lightning with him, she was the closest to him, but among all those gathered, she was the only one without fear on her face. Instead, she was completely calm, her lips carrying an indistinct and funereal, yet satisfied smile. Around Du Kuai, 16 monarchs revealed themselves. Covering Du Kuai and releasing all their strength, none of them attacked the current Yun Qinghong. Still, the speed at which they escaped was incomparably slow. This was because Yun Qinghong's aura had firmly locked onto them. As if their bodies were distorted in an amorphous net, every movement consumed the strength of their entire bodies. The strength of 17 monarchs could not escape this pressure. One could imagine how oppressive the taboo power coming from Yun Qinghong was. However, in order to use such power, the price that needed to be paid was incomparably enormous. Because it was the life of a mid-stage monarch. The reason the intense purple lightning would turn scarlet was because each bolt was infused with Yun Qinghong's blood essence. An apocalyptic aura enveloped half of the demon imperial city, and even the highest-level monarchs, standing at the pinnacle of this world, felt their souls trembling. The red lightning around Yun Qinghong's body swelled again, on the verge of exploding. And once the mass of lightning exploded, the 100 kilometers around would become a blood-colored lightning purgatory. Just as the demon imperial hall sank into chaos, a cold voice sounded from above. The voice was not loud, and incomprehensible penetrating power was carried within it, easily cutting through the agitated clamor and transmitting distinctly to the ears of every person. Patriarch Yun, you don't need to do this. Following the arrival of the voice, there was a ball of pale golden flames. This ball of flames descended from the skies, landing in front of Yun Qinghong's body, instantly separating the incomparably terrifying aura. Following that, the resplendent blood-colored lightning was quickly suppressed by the pale golden flames, being consumed, and after 3 breaths, all the blood-colored lightning had completely disappeared. The flames extinguished. The Yun Qinghong who had consumed his blood essence appeared morbidly pale, like paper, and fell paralyzed to the ground. But immediately after, he turned his body without any regard and looked into the air, his mouth revealing his excitement, shouting in shock. Little demon empress? It's the little demon empress's voice. The entire hall was stunned, and the same astonishment covered the face of every person. Everyone had clearly heard the voice from before. It was definitely the little demon empress's voice. Following Yun Qinghong's shout, everyone's gazes turned upward. It was not known when, but on the ceiling of the hall, a huge fissure had appeared. Every brick and tile of the demon imperial hall was built with incomparably rigid profound jade. To even destroy a small piece would cause an immense sound. But the appearance of the fissure that was at least 10 feet wide had not been noticed by a single person. It was as if it had vanished without a trace. Besides the fissure in the hall, not far above, 2 figures floated. The figure on the right was a small body, dressed in gray with a piercing gaze without any oscillation, perfect like sumptuous jewels, yet cold without any expression. Above her eyebrows, a mark of pure gold in the shape of flames flickered. When the gazes came into contact with the flame mark, the souls were suddenly pressurized by an irresistible force. Little demon empress. It's the little demon empress. Little demon empress. Is this? What is this? Old man? Look, quick look. Mu Yubai was excited to the point of incoherence. It's the little demon empress. She's not dead. The mark between the little demon empress's eyebrows. Mu Fian's voice was also extremely excited. That is the golden crow flame mark. It's the mark awakened by the golden crow's blood. The little demon empress who had originally died months ago, who even had a funeral procession, actually appeared alive before them on the day of the new emperor's ascension. A wave of voices exploded, practically making the hall explode. They were either astonished, or terrified, or disconcerted, or pleasantly surprised, or even in disbelief. The significance of the scorching mark between the little demon empress's eyebrows was known to every citizen of the illusory demon realm. This is impossible, impossible. Duke Huai looked, his eyeballs nearly exploding. How the hell did the two of them get out of there? According to his royal father's plans, they would be locked in that place for at least another 2 years, and when they came out, if they didn't die inside the Golden Crow Lightning Flame Valley, they would have already completely taken over the illusory demon realm and could deal with both of them easily. Both of them actually didn't die. The mark between the little demon empress's eyebrows. What was happening? Royal Father clearly said that women basically cannot awaken the Golden Crow's lineage. To awaken, it would bring only a single result, which was death. What the hell was happening? /N Sparkles Extra Chapter Goals Sparkles. Fanfic novels for every 5 5-star reviews plus 1 extra chapter released. Gemstone for every 100 Power Stones plus 1 extra chapter released. The more support you give, the faster new chapters will arrive. Rocket Fire. Also, if you want to read up to 10 advanced chapters of the story and support the project, check out my Patreon. My Patreon. Patreon.com/fanficnovels. Fanfic novels for $5.99. You get full access to all content, no holding back. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next chapter.
Every novel listed in the description comes with permanent access to the audiobook on Telegram. You pay once, and if the novel is still ongoing, you'll receive all future updates automatically. No extra cost. Choose your novel from the description, then DM me on Telegram, WhatsApp, or Discord. After payment via PayPal, Ko-Fi, or Patreon, you'll get instant access. Simple, secure, lifetime listening. Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Your support means a lot.